Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Global Weird, Ghost Rider, Awakening Hellfire. Chapter 71. A full quarter of an hour. Liu Jie burned Kamida's soul for a full quarter of an hour, and the light blue spirit body just couldn't bear the pressure and collapsed. Suddenly, there were bursts of shouts and killings from all directions in the ruins. Liu Jie looked around indifferently. It turned out that it was the awakened people in other buildings, and they all came here with red eyes and screaming to kill. He turned around slowly, and the flames of hell emerged from his body again. Claws. It shattered the chest of a Sakura country awakener. A blood hole the size of a tire appeared on the upper body of the awakened one. More than a dozen Sakura country awakeners rushed forward. Liu Jie's eyes froze, and the Eye of Judgment was activated. These people trembled and foamed at the mouth again, and fell to the ground. Liu Jie waved his palm along the way. The surging flames burned their flesh to a pulp. A fire dragon flew, hovering and roaring in the air. The awakened from the Sakura kingdom who rushed forward from behind was taken away by the vigorous fire dragon. Liu Jie's heart is like a stone, but all the people of the Sakura country who rush forward will not refuse, and they will all be killed. He was completely blood-bathed here. Dark red blood flowed all over the ground. Rubble, stumps, and internal organs were scattered everywhere. Gaoqianyuan, which was originally magnificent and divine, seems to have turned into a purgatory on earth. The densely piled remains of corpses are a full meter high. Almost 80% of the awakened people in the 3rd district have been wiped out. The only fish that slipped through the net fled hastily with their seriously injured bodies, never daring to come back. Finally, there was only one vice president left, Fuji Yuta. He was stepped on by Liu Jie. The body trembled crazily, shaking like chaff. Looking at Liu Jie's eyes full of fear, this is a demon. Liu Jie stepped on him and did not kill him. This is a live mouth left specially. Remember, in the future, those who offend our dragon kingdom will be punished no matter how far away they are. Say it. Liu Jie kicked it flying. Wu Di ran over excitedly. Looking at the corpses and ruins all over the ground, I was excited and excited. Brother Liu, you are too lazy. One person recklessly penetrated the opponent's entire 3rd district. Believe it or not, this matter will definitely cause a sensation all over the world. At that time, we will be famous. Wu Di excitedly said. 1 hour, and you leveled the entire area. No one has ever done this before. Liu Jie quietly listened to Wu Di's words, silently recovering his strength. In this hour-long battle, the means are constantly being used. He consumes a lot. When he felt that he had almost recovered, he pulled Wu Di to prepare to evacuate. There was an unbearable coercion from heaven and earth. It was as if a violent storm had sealed off the world in an instant. Wu Di felt that his legs were filled with 1,000 caddies of cement, and he was about to be unable to hold on, so he knelt down. Baga, Li Zi, you dare to kill the awakened people of our country. I will never leave you. A mysterious strong man from the Sakura kingdom suddenly appeared. His aura is majestic, like an abyss, like a prison, and as deep as an ocean. Liu Jie and Wu Di couldn't breathe. Heavenly powerhouse. The sky-level powerhouse of the Sakura kingdom has appeared. His expression was furious, and he unscrupulously released the coercion of his whole body as soon as he appeared on the stage. A pair of big hands turned into mountains, and they were going to be shot to death on the spot. Wu Abcid turned pale with shock. He opened his mouth wide, looking at the overwhelming giant hands with horror in his eyes. Heaven-level powerhouse, come so fast, at this critical time. Liu Jie grabbed Wu Di's shoulder, then performed Dimension Shuttle. When the giant palm is about to fall to the ground, the two appeared 100 kilometers away. Boom. The earth shakes and the mountains shake. Wu Di lost his footing and fell down. His expression was shocked. It's already 100 kilometers away. How can a blow from a heaven-level powerhouse still have such power? Liu Jie's eyes flickered. This is the 2nd time he has seen the horror of a heavenly powerhouse. But now that the situation is critical, there is no time to think about it. He continued to grab Wu Di and fled quickly. The next day, numerous high-level awakeners from the Sakura country Takatahara, as well as the great powers of the Amaterasu society, have come here in person. They looked devastated and shocked to the point of tearing their eyes. A few old men hammered the wall hard, their eyes were bloodshot and they growled in a low voice. Dragon Kingdom, the Sakura Kingdom, are at odds with you. In the future, you will have to pay the price. Eye for eye. The other side, the furious Sakura Kingdom-level powerhouse had a gloomy expression. He couldn't figure it out. Why can the weak of the two Dragon Kingdoms escape from him? Dragon Kingdom, Holy Spirit Academy. In the solemn and orderly Hall of the Awakened, a huge screen is connecting the videos of the two countries. Here, it represents the Supreme Holy Spirit Academy in the Dragon Kingdom. On the other side of the video is the Amaterasu meeting corresponding to Sakura Kingdom. On the screen, a man with gloomy eyes, a hooked nose, and deep eye sockets from the Sakura Kingdom said violently, "Your Dragon Kingdom has committed a crime against the heavens. The crimes this time are too numerous to write down, and the crimes are heinous. On behalf of Amaterasu, I strongly condemn your Dragon Kingdom. Also, don't think that your Dragon Kingdom can hide murderers and hide criminals. Our Sakura country has already found out the real culprit behind the scenes. I advise you to hand over that murderer named Liu Jie as soon as possible, otherwise, you will bear the consequences." This side, the Academy of the Holy Spirit quietly listened to the roar of the video from Amaterasu. Wei Qingshan, who lived in the first seat, tapped the table lightly with his fingers. Suddenly grinning, when did the weak Sakura Kingdom have the confidence to fight against our Dragon Kingdom? Why should the disasters that happened in your country be blamed on our Dragon Kingdom? The people of Long Kingdom are gentle, polite, reserved, and would never commit the horrific crimes you mentioned. As for what you said, the fact that Liu Jie slaughtered your entire 3rd district is purely false. There is no such thing at all. Even if there is, so what? Over the past few years, have you awakened people from the Sakura Kingdom killing me? Haven't there been fewer awakened people from the Dragon Kingdom? Snapped. Finished. Wei Qingshan cut off the video call between the two countries. He seemed to have thought of something, and suddenly grinned. Beside, those sitting were all the top 12 experts from the round table. One of them said, "Liu Jie, 18 years old, has awakened abilities and kills every 6 months. Sneaked into Sakura's country last week, and bloodbathed Gao Tianyuan, the 3rd district, by myself. Also, slaughtered the awakened people in 9 strange fogs. There are more than 1,500 Sakura country awakeners who died in his hands." This time the record was read out by him softly. The hearts of all the bosses present were also slightly shaken. With such a record, brilliant is not enough to describe it. I'd say it's scary. As for Wu Di, who was with Liu Jie, he was automatically ignored by the top 12 members of the round table. Liu Jie's assessment of strength needs to be raised again. At this time, another big boss of the round table suggested, "I agree that his strength and his supernatural talent with ordinary eyes are not enough to cover him. Perhaps, his future achievements will not be weaker than mine." Everyone spoke one after another, discussing Liu Jie's strength and talent. Finally, Wei Qingshan, who was in the first seat, spoke. "From today onwards, Liu Jie will be included in the sequence, and Han Shui will handle this matter." The dean made a speech. This matter is basically a certainty. But basically everyone didn't say anything. After all, Liu Jie's tough record is really terrifying to the point of making one's scalp tingle. Even everyone here, no one can guarantee that they will be able to achieve Liu Jie's level when they are young. A few people shook their heads and said, "Liu Jie did too much this time." Currently, the cherry blossom country is definitely still brewing. When the news comes out, it will definitely cause a sensation all over the world. Someone laughed. So what? Who cares? At the same time, Chen Baishui, who was sitting in the office of the vice president of the 3rd District Psychic Association, suddenly received a secret call. When she heard the content clearly, she froze in place on the spot. "I can't speak for a long time. Cold snow, cold snow. Please reply." A long time. Only then did Chen Baishui come back to his senses, and quickly replied with a solemn expression. "Hanzu has received. Guaranteed to complete the mission." Put down the phone. Chen Baishui sat weakly on the chair, and fell into a state of doubting life. Crazy. Absolutely insane. This kid. When Chen Baishui thought of Liu Jie's usually calm face, he couldn't laugh or cry, and didn't know what to say. 3 days later, Sakura country officially released the news. In the news, Lu Jie is wanted by Sakura country and listed as the #1 criminal. And offer a sky-high price and offer a reward, hunt and kill all over the world. As soon as this news comes out, global sensation. After countless awakened people learned the details of the incident, their scalps became numb with shock. Of course, there are also quite a few careerists who are eager to move for the sky-high reward Lu Jie bears. In the 4th district, Lu Ziqi rushed into a room with a newspaper in her hands. She saw Lu Qingyi, who was dressing up inside, and hurriedly said, "Qingyi, look quickly. Is the person in the newspaper your brother?" Lu Qingyi stopped dressing up. Puzzled, he took the newspaper and read it. Moment. Her beautiful eyes were wide and round, completely shocked. My brother actually did such a crazy thing. Lu Qingyi read the contents of the newspaper several times, and the shock in her eyes was hard to dissipate for a long time. Sakura country. The whole country wanted my younger brother, and even offered a sky-high bounty. This kid actually took over the entire 3rd district. Lu Ziqi was beside her with her little hands behind her back, and asked curiously, "Qingyi, tell me quickly what your little brother ate to grow up, to be so fierce." Lu Qingyi gave this best friend an angry look. "Like me, I grew up eating plain rice." Hee hee. Lu Ziqi coquettishly shook Lu Qingyi's shoulder, and said with a smile, as expected of 2 sisters and brothers, the older sister is charming with a smile, and the younger brother is unparalleled in the world. "I just don't know, does my younger brother have no girlfriend?" "Okay." Lu Qingyi raised her head and glanced at Lu Ziqi viciously. Lu Ziqi froze immediately and raised her hands in surrender. "I was just joking. Why are you so serious? But your brother Lu Jie is really strong and handsome. And in the entire 4th district of Longguo, the news has been fermented for several days. Many powerful 7-star and even 8-star awakeners also got together and talked about Lu Jie. Especially among the senior executives of the 4th District Psychic Association, the exclamation and shock towards Lu Jie were particularly strong. Tisk tisk, is such a genius really just a 5-star awakened person? The law enforcement chief of the 4th District looked at the newspaper and shook his head in wonder. Kang Mai, the vice president of the 4th District, had a smile on his face, and his beard trembled slightly with his smile. Such a person must be a one-in-a-kind genius. Every time Lu Jie is promoted to a district, he adopts a method of stepping up and crossing districts. I reckon that it won't be long. A man of extraordinary talent. Only the president frowned. Needless to say, Lu Ji's talent, he has done something that has never been done before, and we Longguo people have never done it before. With such a genius, why has the Academy of the Holy Spirit kept silent? If the Cherry Blossom country is insane and desperately sends awakened people to invade our country and kill Lu Jie, his life and death will be unpredictable. As soon as the chairman's words came out, everyone fell into a brief silence. Everyone in Sakura country has a crazy gene hidden in their bones. If they retaliate against Lu Jie desperately, it will be really difficult. Similar discussions and concerns. It quickly swept across the entire 6 regions of Longguo. Except for the 6th district that has just been opened up. Most of the awakened people in the other 5 districts have basically heard about Lu Ji's deeds. Everyone is talking. Some marveled at Lu Ji's ruthlessness and strength. In order to avenge his dead friend, he actually dared to go to the Sakura country alone, destroying a large area by himself. And can get out of the body. With such a proud record, even the most arrogant genius has to admit it in his heart, willing to bow down. There are also many awakened people who feel excited. For so many years, the neighbors of Sakura country across the sea have never been at ease. Countless awakened died at their hands. These people more or less had relatives and friends who died at the hands of the awakened people in the Sakura kingdom. Lu Ji's move may seem crazy, but it really helped everyone to breathe a sigh of relief. Great job. The beasts from the Sakura country have made troubles here, so it's all right. Lu Jie will take over a litter of them in the 3rd district. Sakura country has suffered heavy losses. I'm afraid the 3rd district will be completely devastated. Relief for the real girl. From now on, the awakened people in the Sakura kingdom will be directly faulted, and their subsequent development will become a problem. Haha, no wonder Sakura country is so furious that Lu Ji's life is wanted all over the world. The Dragon Kingdom awakened felt happy, and their admiration for Lu Jie rose steadily. You know, the matter of Lu Jie can not only be said to be unprecedented but also unprecedented. An ordinary Tongtian, let alone more than 1,500 awakened people of the same level or even higher, even if he can win 100% one-on-one, his original strength and physical strength are not enough to support 1 against 1,000. Consumption. What's more, it only took a few hours for Lu Jie to go back and forth. If you wait a little longer, the reinforcements from the Sakura country base camp will come continuously and surround you. At that time, it will be difficult to fly with wings, and you will not be able to run if you want to. Just ask, in today's world, who dares to do it with a pat on the chest? I'm afraid that those in the Holy Spirit Academy can't guarantee it 100%. The key is that Lu Jie is only at the 5-star level. How terrifying is the strength to achieve this step? In the end, countless Dragon Country Awakeners lamented this. Except for the land of the Dragon Kingdom. The story of Lu Jie has apparently spread throughout the world. White Elephant Country. Under the pagodas lined with thousands of sects. A group of high-level officials from Baixiangguo also discussed Lu Jie. Nowadays, the training system among awakened people in various countries is gradually improving. The sudden birth of such a super genius in Long Kingdom will naturally attract the attention of other countries. Lu Jie of the Dragon Kingdom must be a character no weaker than Sikong Hao Wei Qingshan in the future. Long Kingdom already has 2 existences of this level, and there must be no third one. The White Elephant King Mahalongkorn bit his pipe and trembled when he spoke. A group of high-level officials kneeling below him lowered their heads, listening to the king's reprimand. Yes, Your Majesty the King. What are we going to do? Please show me. The great Master Lama prostrated himself on the ground respectfully, with a humble tone. Since he started, all the remaining high-level officials have maintained the same posture, submitting to the White Elephant King. Mahalongkorn was smoking a pipe, squinted his eyes and thought for a while, and there was a gleam of light in the slits of his eyes. The Dragon Kingdom has just opened the 6th district, and it is getting closer to the Lighthouse Kingdom secretly. Wei Qingshan is still alive and well. Let's not startle the snakes, don't provoke them first. List the Dragon Kingdom Lu Jie as a key focus, and the royal family will allocate 15% of the funds to you to infiltrate the Dragon Kingdom's intelligence network. Be sure to keep all the information about this boy from the Dragon Kingdom in the hands of the royal family. Great Master Lama trembled when he heard this. 15% of the royal family's funds are just to build an intelligence network to monitor a person. Lama's heart was like a turbulent sea. He deeply understood that the king was afraid of the appearance of the 3rd Sikong Hao in the Dragon Kingdom. Follow His Majesty's will. So Lama kowtowed again, and after a long obeisance, he led all the senior officials to retreat. And on the far side of the ocean, known as the Lighthouse Country of Liberty, the building is brightly lit. Dozens of awakened people sat neatly on the big round wooden table that glowed brightly under the light. There is only one person, wearing the lighthouse flag and tights, with his back to everyone. He is Shan, so far, the man with the highest realm in the world. The slaughter of the 3rd district of a small country is worth calling me here. Shan turned his back to the crowd, with a depressive twist on his face from time to time. He was very angry with this group of guys in suits and leather shoes. It's just the 3rd area, it's all rubbish that's not as good as some ants. Why is this kind of thing worth asking him to come here? The speaker choked on his words. He didn't dare to offend Shan. This is the patron saint of the entire lighthouse. The speaker had no choice but to sigh deeply, and winked at the crowd sitting on the expensive round wooden table. This is the end. But the top management of the entire Beacon country had already secretly reached an agreement. That Lu Jie of the Dragon Kingdom must be strictly followed. A Sikong Hao is no match for Shan. Adding another Wei Qingshan can't match Shan. So, what if another Lu Jie grows up in the future? With 3 characters of this level, is Shan still a rival? At the same time, the calm Lu Jie and the excited Wu Di have just set foot on the land of Dragon Kingdom. Wu Di's face is still full of excitement. He followed behind Lu Jie, dancing, chanting words, and kept bragging about how sensational the trip of the 2 of them was. Brother Lu, look, we're walking along the way, and we can hear news that the base camp of the 3rd district of Sakura country is almost completely wiped out. Are you a dick? His face was flushed, and he leaned in front of Lu Jie, his eyes were piercing. It can be next second. The guy was dejected again, and punched the air with his fist. It's this group of hateful little cherry blossoms who actually only mentioned me twice in the entire description, without even a name. Is my name, Wu Di, unworthy of being on the news with you? These people from the country of Sakura completely treat me as a passerby. It's just that Lu Jie took a mysterious awakener and destroyed the base camp of the 3rd district. Joe, Wu Di, don't want to lose face. Wu Di was indignant. He didn't expect that in the news reports that swept the world, he didn't even have a name. Lu Jie was speechless by his gesture of excitement and anger. So he stopped, teased and laughed. Why, you just helped me guard the gate and deal with some miscellaneous hairs. Being treated as a passerby is nothing more than normal. Wu Di opened his mouth wide and stared blankly at Lu Jie, apparently not expecting him to say, 450. Lu Jie added, actually, this is a good thing for you. He looked at the sky in the distance and said, the situation I'm in next is probably not going to be too peaceful. I'm afraid that the entire cherry blossom country will send strong men to assassinate me. It is estimated that high-level awakened people will emerge endlessly. If your identity is also exposed, do you think you can stop it? Wu Di was stunned. He touched the back of his head resentfully, and smiled. It's true that you say so. What about you? Wu Di looked at Lu Jie extremely worried. You made such a big noise, the whole world of Sakura country wants you, why don't you find a place to hide, and wait until the storm calms down before going out? Lu Jie shook his head, no need. He is calm. Even knowing that he is about to face endless assassinations, he is not afraid at all. With his current strength, he is not afraid to face the 7-star awakened. Unless the 9-star awakener comes in person. But people of this level are afraid that they will be discovered just after stepping into the land of Dragon Kingdom. The two then returned to the 3rd district. People here are still busy with their own business. Training, mission execution, daily patrols. The only difference is the spare time. Everyone will turn on the news to see how far the international arrest for Lu Jie has progressed. This was the case until Lu Jie's return. Lu Jie and Wu Di stepped into the 3-district Psychic Association. At first, no one has noticed the two of them yet. Sudden, a few awakened people who were sitting in the lobby drinking tea accidentally saw Lu Jie's face, and all the tea in their hands came out in shock. What the hell, who did I see? His teammate next to him looked at him suspiciously, and then followed his gaze to find Lu Jie. Then, Lu Jie is back. This loud voice completely alarmed the entire 3rd District Psychic Association. Word spread quickly. All the awakened ones swarmed like a tide. Everyone surrounded Lu Jie and Wu Di, and looked at them with warm eyes. Awesome, our hero who protects the country is back. It's too fierce. One person took down the entire 3rd district of Sakura country. This strength, this record, is too terrifying. Good job. I've seen this group of little cherry blossoms not pleasing to the eye for a long time. Lu Jie really helped us Dragon Kingdom awaken to let out a bad breath. Be famous all over the world, I will lose the one who left his name in history. It's so ruthless. One person is against 1,000. I heard that a 7-star awakened person died at the hands of Brother Lu that day. Hiss. Is it true or not? Doesn't that mean that Brother Lu's current strength has already surpassed the 3rd district? Wu Di stood beside Lu Jie, listening to everyone's praise and praise. The beauty is that his tail is going up to the sky. He stretched out his arms and kept patting his chest to introduce to everyone that there is still me and me. I was the one who wiped out the 3rd area of Sakura country with Brother Lu that day. Everyone understood, and immediately shared a lot of words of praise and praise to Wu Di. So this guy Wu Di was almost going to heaven. Lu Jie was very calm from the beginning. The praises all over the sky often failed to touch his heart. Everyone's bragging can't give him a little bit of pride and pride. Lu Jie is just a little sad. Kamita Zan is dead. Even the entire 3rd district of Sakura country was destroyed by him. But so what? Old Wu is dead. He will never come back. Sigh. Lu Jie returned to his room silently. Everyone looked at his expression, a little strange, only thought that Lu Jie was worried about the next assassination. So they all expressed comfort, and took the initiative to give way. At this time, On the escalator on the second floor, Chen Baishui shouted. Lu Jie. Lu Jie looked up at her. Chen Baishui said expressionlessly, "Come up with me. Are you aware of the seriousness of this incident?" Chen Baishui had a stern face, her long black silk legs raised, and she looked at Lu Jie seriously. Lu Jie shrugged. "I know. You." Chen Baishui was left speechless by him. Not since the weird global recovery has anything of this magnitude happened. You slaughtered the entire 3rd district of Sakura country, which will affect the subsequent training of their awakened ones. Almost completely disrupted their young generation. How could the Sakura kingdom let you go? The future is bound to be endless. Chen Baishui also explained the seriousness of the matter. Lu Jie didn't panic at all. Anyway, I am strong enough, as long as the opponent doesn't send a 9-star awakened person, I don't have to be afraid at all. Not to mention, even if there is a force majeure danger coming. If you can't beat yourself, you can't run. Evil motorcycles and dimension shuttles are not for nothing. As long as you want to run, even the strongest in the sky can't stop it. Chen Baishui can also be regarded as the one who watched Lu Jie step by step to this point. Seeing Lu Jie's expression at this time, she knew that what she just said was in vain. Ah, Chen Baishui sighed helplessly, then took out a file from the desk and handed it to Lu Jie. Congratulations, you have successfully been included in the sequence. Well, the ranking is not high, 100th place. Lu Jie took over the file and looked at Chen Baishui in a little surprise. He entered the sequence now. Haven't retested the ability talent yet. Chen Baishui looked at Lu Jie very seriously, and explained. Currently you are included in the sequence, but the sequence point is 0. And the more sequence points, the higher the ranking will be. You also know that the Academy of the Holy Spirit has a total of 36 seats. In the future, when the assessment period expires, if your sequence ranking still fails to enter the top 36, you can only be transferred to the subsidiary department of the Holy Spirit Academy. Hearing this, Lu Jie looked at Chen Baishui's Twilight badge and asked, "If you can't get into the seat of the Holy Spirit Academy, will you be the same as you?" Chen Baishui nodded. No wonder. It turns out that this woman is a genius who almost entered the Holy Spirit Academy. I said, why is she so mysterious? She is rich in Xuantian. Lu Jie looked at Chen Baishui and muttered. Chen Baishui looked at Lu Jie's face again, and said seriously. From now on, I will be your sequence leader. Here's your badge. A brand new Baijin epaulette with more complicated and exquisite texture fell into the hands of Lu Jie. It is still the half-decayed world tree, the dead leaves and green of the world tree, and the tall trunk are carved out of brown gemstones, emeralds, black gemstones and amber respectively. At the bottom position, there is a gold-plated number, C. Lu Jie knows. This is the Roman numeral, which stands for 100. Silently put away the badge. Then Lu Jie walked out of Chen Baishui's office. But unexpectedly found her sister Lu Qingyi, who came to the 3rd district at some point. Lu Jie said in surprise. Sister, why are you here? Lu Qingyi's cheeks were puffed up, and she reached out and grabbed Lu Jie's ears. Do you have any idea how risky what you're doing this time? What will you do if Sakura country sends people to assassinate you in spite of everything? Are you only happy if you worry about your sister to death? Lu Jie was gently covered by his sister, but it didn't hurt. He showed an aggrieved expression and yelled, "Tap lightly, it hurts me to death." Don't worry, sister, I do things properly. The awakened ones in the Sakura kingdom can't do anything to me. Lu Qingyi had no choice but to let go, and then held her younger brother's face in both hands, looking at him seriously. Anyway, don't do such a dangerous thing next time. You are my only relative, my sister doesn't want any accidents for you. Lu Qingyi's worried eyes were as gentle as water, almost melting Lu Ji's heart that had been frozen due to excessive killing during this period of time. He also said softly, "Don't worry, I will protect myself." Okay, Lu Qingyi nodded heavily. In fact, she came here mainly to confirm the safety of her younger brother. Nothing happened to see Lu Jie. She has been relieved for the most part. Lu Qingyi took the time to come over to confirm that Lu Jie was safe. The two exchanged hasty greetings for a while, and then she went back. Lu Jie locked himself in the room alone after his sister left. This trip to the country of cherry blossoms. There are actions with the purpose of seizing resources. But more than 1,500 Sakura Awakeners were slaughtered. The resources I picked up at random are also amazing. There are hundreds of 5th order spirit crystals. There are more than a dozen of 6th order spirit crystals. There are also many potions and precious treasures recorded in other weird illustrated books. Liu Jie is not someone who likes to save resources for use. He immediately started refining. One by one, the spirit crystals were drained of their aura, turning into dry white slag and falling to the ground. Bottle after bottle of medicine was poured into his mouth, and entered into his limbs along the abdominal cavity. There are more rare treasures with unique functions. Boom. Ding. Congratulations to the increase in host strength. Reward template integration. Current template fusion. 25%. Ding. Congratulations to the host for successfully unlocking Fire Hell. The practice is over. The system beeps in due time. Liu Jie's eyes lit up, and a flash of fire flashed by. A brand new skill has been unlocked. He immediately began to check the skill description of Fire Hell. This time, Liu Jie was immediately amazed by this skill. Using this skill, I can turn the entire 10-mile radius into a fiery hell. And in the fire hell, you can summon hell demons. Hell demons are immortal. As long as the fiery hell is still maintained, they can continue to be resurrected. And the number of hell demons that can be summoned is related to my realm. Liu Jie looked at the ceiling and murmured, "Now, I can summon 10 hell demons." Cherry Blossom Country, Kyushu Island. This is the 3rd largest island in Sakura Country. It is rumored that at the beginning of ancient times, the gods tricked the shy god Amaterasu out of the stone on this island. So heaven and earth have a master, and all things usher in their son. Certainly, these are all self-proclaimed claims by the people of Sakura Country. However, the location of Amaterasu still falls on Kyushu Island. On the dark bridge near the sea, the dark tide slaps the exposed sea stones. The black water made white foam on the sea stones. It looks tragic and bleak. Chinbin-jun, this operation is up to you. Please lead everyone, cut off the head of that Dragon Kingdom boy, and defend the glory of our great Sakura Kingdom. On the dark bridge, a man wearing a single-sided gold-rimmed glasses bowed to the man on the giant ship docked on the shore. Behind the man with glasses was a group of bodyguards in suits who were serious and rigid to the point of perversion, bending down along with the man's waist. Echizen-sensei, you guys go back. We will put the sword on the neck of that nasty boy, and make him regret everything he has done before. Some people stood solemnly on the giant ship. The one standing at the front of the group, near the railing, was Qian Zutu. He is about to shoulder the expectation and glory of the entire Sakura Kingdom, go to the strange land of Dragon Kingdom, and take revenge on a Dragon Kingdom kid who insulted the entire country. The cruise ship hummed and its siren blared. Chinbin Hai formally led the team, secretly sneaked into the land of Longguo, and carried out the top-secret mission to assassinate Liu Jie. It was rare for Liu Jie to be free for a whole day in the Psychic Association. He did nothing all day. No patrols, no workouts and no fog of warping. Liu Jie hid himself in the room alone, explaining the profound things in simple terms. During this period, he had countless impulses to visit Nana, the daughter left behind by Lao Wu. But he held back. In case Nana saw herself, she asked where her father had gone. How should I answer myself? So Liu Jie stayed silently in the room and browsed the news. Have to say, the Sakura Country incident was quite a sensation. The fishing boat network all over the world is talking about this matter. Officials from various countries have condemned, prevaricated, ridiculed, and solemnly protested each other. The folk post scrolled crazily, and tens of thousands of messages were swiped every second. People from all countries and ethnic groups speaking different languages have speculated that Liu Jie in this dragon country can live for a few days. I haven't seen Liu Jie from Dragon Kingdom come out for activities these days. I guess he is dead. I guess it's about the same. Sakura Country has the power of the whole country, and the whole world wants him. A small 5-star awakened person can survive these 3 days, which is quite good. Even if he is not dead now, he will definitely not dare to go out. I heard that many assassination organizations in the world have sent killers to the Dragon Kingdom, and they all want to win the sky-high rewards offered by the Sakura Kingdom. Tisk tisk, Liu Jie of Dragon Kingdom is really miserable. The whole world is speculating how many days Liu Jie will live. The whole world does not believe that Liu Jie can survive the assassination of the whole world. To this, he laughed it off, suddenly remembered, there will be a new weird Milu soon, right? I remember that the predicted time given by the Psionic Association is from this evening to the early morning of the next day. Liu Jie called Chen Baishui. On the other end of the phone, Chen Baishui seemed to have guessed his reason for coming. Before Liu Jie could speak, he said, "No need to remind, I've already settled down. At 7:30 in the evening, there will be a helicopter to take you to Huainan City. I'll leave the fog there to you." Liu Jie listened to the phone and thanked him with a smile. That's right, according to what they agreed before. For the weird fog that appeared in the future, Liu Jie asked to break in alone. He wants to solve the fog alone. When Liu Jie walked out of the room, he came to Helicopter Square. The news spread without knowing how. Many awakened people ran over to watch the excitement. When they saw with their own eyes that Liu Jie was really the only one on the helicopter that sent Liu Jie away, they were all dumbfounded. I'm going, this is really going to solve the fog alone. It's too fierce, it's too fierce. I thought it was just a joke. Tisk tisk, since when did I, great god Liu, ever make a joke? That's right, Brother Liu is a man who can single-handedly destroy the 3rd district of a country. What's the point of solving a fog by one person? That's what I said, but I was still a little shocked to see someone really want to go through the fog alone. Everyone chattered and watched the helicopter leave. There was a color called shock in the eyes. ... Huainan City is not far away. After the helicopter landed, Liu Jie's body burns with mysterious and majestic flames. The flames boiled, he turned into a ghost rider, and snapped his fingers towards the sky. An evil spirit motorcycle burning with flames roared and flew in front of him. Liu Jie stepped up and tightened the accelerator with his right hand. With the fastest speed, he rushed into the strange fog in an instant. He fixed the compass on the motorcycle. Start sweeping from the outside. Wherever there are red dots, Liu Jie ruthlessly crushed them all the way, dragging his long flame tail. The 5th level was weird, and before he even had time to react, he smashed the person and skeleton together. Almost instantly, the 6th level of weirdness is a little bit more difficult. The main reason is that the weird creatures that have reached this level each have more or less small mutations and small evolutions. Just like the one who stopped in front of Liu Jie at this moment and kept opening his mouth to roar. Its shape is a bit similar to the one-eyed owl in a certain ghoul animation in the previous life. The whole body has a huge white skeleton, covered with twisted and scarlet muscles. The body is more than 10 meters large. With one slap, the ceiling of a house can even be lifted off. The sound wave roaring at Liu Jie from the 6th level weirdness can even blow the ground to the ground. Liu Jie stopped the motorcycle obliquely and looked at it coldly. He has no expression on his face, since the evil spirit motorcycle can't kill him, it's weird. Then try the judgment eye. A majestic and deep light suddenly rose from Liu Jie's fiery eyes. This weird, one-eyed owl let out a heart-piercing roar in pain. Its huge body crashed to the ground, and then struggled to get up again. Unfortunately, Liu Jie's arm turned into a flaming demon sword, and he had already walked in front of it, and said lightly. Puff! A flaming sword light streaked across the sky. A bright flame slash is shot out instantly. This 6th order head was so weird that it was cut into 2 halves. The 3rd head, Liu Jie picked up the 6th order spirit crystal that exploded expressionlessly, and counted silently. Then he re-righted the ghost motorcycle. Once again, at supersonic speed, it rushed into the depths of the dark and unknown labyrinth. This time, his goal is the center of the fog. Roar! A loud roar came from the center of the labyrinth. Liu Jie made an emergency stop, and the evil spirit motorcycle let out the roar of the metal engine not to be outdone. Immediately, his eyes became serious and deep. Looking at the densely packed strange numbers, he frowned. Do not know why. Here, an unusually large number of strange things gathered. Thousands of white and strange creatures gathered from all directions, surrounding Liu Jie in the center. Most of them are 5th order weirdness. But there are still no less than 10 6th order weirdness. Deafening roars intertwined, like the beating drum of heaven. Liu Jie rode alone and was besieged in it. The scene is extremely grim. And on the roof of a building somewhere in the center of the mist, Chen Baishui stood proudly under the moonlight. She frowned on Exiame, looking at the scene below. Things are getting tricky. In the pitch-black mist, the dim street lamps could hardly penetrate the light. Surrounded by dark and strange creatures, roars and hisses intertwine and undulate. Lu Jie stood in the center of the encirclement, listening to the thunderous roar, silently summoned the soul chain. Clang! The silver-white soul chains like dragons shuttled out of the void, hovering over Lu Jie's head. The sharp lock is aimed straight ahead. In fact, it's the same everywhere, because it's packed with weirdness. They are like lions who have been hungry for more than half a month and see a buffalo alone. The red eyes revealed bloodthirsty cruelty, ready to go, as if waiting for the best time to charge. Beasts, what are you waiting for? However, Lu Jie chuckled lightly. After he summoned the soul chain, he was ready. Ah! A resounding dragon chant sounded from him. The blazing hellfire turned into a violent fire dragon, staring at King Kong's angry pupils, staring at all the weird things. Right now, tread. A clear sound of footsteps gradually approached. And the weird creatures who were red-eyed and could hardly hold back their inner killing instinct, obediently let out the passage like a servant welcoming their king. This is a half-decayed and translucent earth dragon. Its majestic pupils have a jewel-like luster, and steel-like scales are stretched all over its body, opening and closing as the muscles contract, making a thick sound. There are pale gray bone wings on its back, and the sharp wing angles draw hooks with a specific arc. Even in the fog, no one dares to ignore its sharpness. Lu Jie looked at Dailong with a strange look in his eyes. Come to think of it, this is this group of weird strongest experts, their boss. Roar! The fire dragon was surrounded by blazing high temperature, and fierce hellfire spewed out instantly. Lu Jie is the first to attack. Immediately, countless angry roars sounded from the surroundings, and a group of 5th and 6th tier strange creatures surrounded the strange creatures of the earth dragon and let out threatening roars. The fire dragon is unstoppable. A dozen or so strange monsters that tried to stop them were directly scattered into powder by the hellfire, but the remaining half of the hoof was smoking black smoke. Seeing this, the earth dragon spread its pale gray bone wings, and the 1,000-meter-long musk deer roared with strong winds. Gale vainly tried to fight against the fire dragon, but disappeared in the blink of an eye. Boom! The fire dragon slammed into the area of the earth dragon's weird neck and abdomen. The flames all over the sky filled the sky in an instant. The earth dragon suffered from pain and let out a deafening roar. Immediately it glared at Lu Jie, its thick and powerful limbs full of explosive force bounced violently. And with the help of the 10-meter-long bone wings, it glides at low altitude, and the cold-colored bone claws grabbed Lu Jie directly. Lu Jie's right arm turned into a flaming spear, and his pupils were burning with fiery sparks. He saw the timing, and threw the flame spear fiercely. Pooh! The spear sank into the belly of the earth dragon, where it had been burned a lot by the impact of the first fire dragon. This time it was completely broken by the spear. The sound of sizzling flames burning flesh and blood can be heard endlessly. The earth dragon neighed strangely and painfully. Hundreds of other strange creatures around them became irritable amidst screams of pain. They are not waiting. They all let out sharp roars and rushed towards Lu Jie. Swish! A silver-white soul chain passed through quickly. A blood rain splashed into the air. More than a dozen heads fell to the ground strangely. The momentum of the soul chain is unabated, with Lu Jie's thoughts controlling the battlefield tossing and flying. Every shuttle will take away a large area of weirdness. And within a 5-meter radius around Lu Jie, a death penalty zone was formed. All kinds of gods and demons are not allowed to get close. 5 meters away, there are piles of corpses of strange creatures. Suddenly, there was a roar from heaven and earth, and several thunderbolts flashed. The patter of light rain washes down. The rainwater penetrated through the strange fog, diluting the sticky and dry ground. The flame on Lu Jie's body flickered in the wind and rain. Next second, he stepped onto the evil spirit motorcycle parked obliquely beside him. The hellfire that was burning all over the body suddenly exploded. After one breath, Lu Jie drove the motorcycle, blatantly rushed through hundreds of strange obstacles, and came to the side of the wounded dragon strange like lightning. He raised the flame magic sword high, and the fireworks boiled in the rain and fog. The weirdness around him roared impatiently. The hand rises and the knife falls. Pooh! The head of the huge earth dragon was chopped off with a single knife. Blood gushed out like a fountain. In the center of the fog, the boss is dead. Seeing his boss being beheaded, the other little brothers, Wei Wei, immediately fell into a panic. The peculiarity of this area is that a strange creature that is about to step into the 7th level was born in the center of the fog. Coupled with its own strong earth dragon attribute, it forms a crushing of all the strange things near the center of the fog. But this earth dragon did not start killing, but ruled all the weirdnesses and formed a small kingdom. Under normal conditions, if other awakened teams break into it, I'm afraid the whole army will be wiped out. After all, generally speaking, the Psionic Association will only send about 100 awakened people in an area. And here, there are hundreds of strange creatures. After solving the strongest one, Lu Jie turned around and looked at the weird mess nearby. Suddenly I felt that it was troublesome to kill one by one. He clasped his hands together. A scalding and blazing fireball emerged from his palm. The source of turmoil slowly boiled away. Under the continuous blessing of the fireball, it gradually expanded. In the blink of an eye, it is already 10 meters in diameter. Lu Jie held up a huge fireball. It contains explosive power. The weird ones around became more commotion. They are scrambling and just want to run away at the moment. Hundreds of strange heads, facing a human being, they are full of thoughts of jumping. Such an astonishing scene, I am afraid no one will believe it if I tell it. Lu Jie let out a soft drink. The fireball exploded with a bang. The mighty Hellfire swallowed everything in an instant. Within a radius of several hundred meters, the raging sea of flames engulfed everything. The hideous face of the strange creature showed a final expression of panic, and its body was incinerated into slag in the monstrous sea of flames. The surrounding buildings snapped in half, steel and cement melted. Everything is in ruins. Everything was reduced to ashes. Wait until the flame dissipates. When the world returns to calm and the fog recedes. The ground is devastated, only gunpowder smoke billowing up. Besides, Lu Jie's eyes are bright, looking at good spirit crystals all over the floor, and the corners of his mouth are grinning from ear to ear. He happily put away all the resources, and said cheerfully, "After working so hard for so long, isn't this the moment you've been waiting for? Going through the fog alone, no one competes with yourself for resources. So the black box is my own, and many treasures are also my own." It took only a few breaths to wipe out all the weirdness. A big fire is done. But it took Lu Jie more than half an hour to collect resources. These things are enough for him to usher in a huge improvement. The other side, I didn't know that there was a gray-faced Haisi Yuji who was looking in Lu Jie's direction with a dull face, muttering 3 times to herself. This kid, isn't he too perverted? It was the first time Lu Jie entered the mist alone, and Chen Baishui followed him out of worry. But what she never expected was, Lu Jie is so fierce. The ability flame was cast so unexpectedly. There are traces like missiles destroying the space within a few hundred meters. Chen Baishui was really dumbfounded. Lu Jie kept a low profile when he returned. Fortunately, he broke out a storage ring before, although the storage space is not large. But it is more than enough to hold some gem-sized spirit crystals and scattered treasures. So when he stepped into the gate of the Psychic Association in the 3rd district, almost no one noticed him. Fortunately, Lu Jie is famous enough. A side face was only exposed for half a turn, and someone immediately exclaimed, "Lu Jie, why are you here?" The loud voice quickly attracted many people. A group of awakened people surrounded them. "Am I dazzled? I just saw Brother Lu's helicopter an hour ago." Yeah, didn't my brother, Lu, single out a strange fog? Why did he appear in the association? That's right, why did Brother Lu appear in the association? After everyone thought about it, they looked like ducks with their necks stuck, quacking in silence. Could it be that Brother Lu solved the fog in just 1 hour? No, won't it? If this is the case, it would be too careless. Accurately, it's not an hour, but 54 minutes and 43 seconds. Well, although Wainan City is near the association, but minus the time spent by the helicopter, the actual time is less than 40 minutes. My mother, I'm numb. It's too fierce, my little brother is willing to bow down. 100, isn't this too strong? Single-handedly. Lu Jie, YYDS. All the people around were stunned. Breaking through a strange fog alone, this feat is not achieved by anyone in our Dragon Kingdom. It is said that the 2 deans of the Holy Spirit have done it. But what is it to clear the customs within an hour? Nothing like this has happened since the Weird Age. No one who comes later does not know, but no one in the past knows it properly. Everyone looked at Lu Ji's eyes and Shendu changed. It's like staring at a pervert, an overly strong pervert. Ahem. Lu Jie covered his mouth and coughed twice. I originally wanted to sneak into the room in a low-key manner, but I didn't expect to be recognized. There is no way, the superior strength is such an annoyance, so annoyance. The other side, Chen Baishui will come back earlier than Lu Jie. Her face was ashen, and the traces of dirt were gone. Instead, it is delicate and elegant makeup. The elegant eyes look extremely noble. She stood with Zheng Haiyang, the chairman of the 3rd district. She was much younger than Zheng Haiyang, but her aura surpassed that of Zheng Haiyang, an old man. You mean that Lu Jie solved the fog in Huainan City in 1 hour? Zheng Haiyang's eyes widened. If he didn't know something about Chen Baishui's background, he even suspected that she was trying to fool him. Chen Baishui held her hair by her ears, and the exclamation at that time still remained in her words. That's right, I followed all the way. This kid only spent half an hour quickly clearing up all the strange things on the periphery, and then instantly wiped out all the strange things in the center of the fog. Boss. At that time, there were actually hundreds of weird little brothers of the boss in the center of the fog. But Chen Baishui felt that he didn't need to speak so clearly. Because Rao's retelling was so short, the President Haiyang shook his head in surprise. This Lu Jie is really a monster. Zheng Haiyang sighed. Chen Baishui nodded, recalling the first time he saw this little brother, and then thinking of the bursting fireball that almost accidentally injured him an hour ago. So I couldn't help but sigh. Who said it wasn't? When Lu Jie returned to the room, he enjoyed the staring ceremony all the way. Everyone's eyes were on him, but no one dared to speak to him. Wu Di, the only bully who dared to take the initiative to chat with Lu Jie, is also out to perform the task at the moment. Lu Jie returned to his exclusive luxury private room and locked the door behind him. He sat cross-legged on the pad, and then controlled the space ring with his mind. Wow! In an instant, a large pile of dark red spirit crystals appeared in front of them. The spiritual crystals reflect a deep luster, piled together like small hills. Lu Jie didn't count in detail, but conservatively estimated that there are at least 300 upwards. Even if most of them are some 5th-order spirit crystals, such a large sum is quite terrifying. Call. It's really cool to single out a piece of fog alone. Lu Jie looked at the glowing red spirit crystals in front of him, and thought happily. He decides. ABCI, the fog of the future is all contracted by myself, and no one can touch it. After all, who doesn't love cool, shiny crystals? Then Lu Jie began to refine the treasure in front of him. Let's start with the 5th-order spirit crystal. Although their help to Lu Jie at this stage is not so obvious, but where the quantity is, regional changes can also cause qualitative changes. Ding! Congratulations to the increase in host strength. Reward template integration. Current template fusion degree, 27%. A crisp system prompt sounded. Lu Jie opened his tightly closed eyes, revealing a gleam of light. Another 2 percentage points increase. This practice, the effect is good. The spiritual crystals that were originally like hills in front of him basically turned into dry powder at this moment, scattered all over the place. Lu Jie clapped his hands and stood up, his eyes sparkling. If I remember correctly, there are still many weird fogs that will come next. Next week, Lu Jie is like a spinning top, always on the go. Since the first time he successfully singled out the fog, Lu Jie has maintained the efficiency of 1 fog per day and continued to clear the level. This week, he alone, through the entire fog. Sometimes, the efficiency is too high, just one person solved a fog in the morning, and a new one appeared in the afternoon. Lu Jie solved 2 fogs in 1 day. In 7 days, the entire 9 fogs were dealt with by him alone. The other awakened people in the 3rd district were all mentally broken by Lu Jie. There are more than 1,000 of them, and they are divided into 10 groups, each with 100 people, to solve the fog. Moreover, after performing a missed mission, they often take a week off due to various reasons such as injury recovery. He is fine. Like a ruthless robot, one person can handle as much fog as a third sector. It's like saying, there are more than 1,000 of them, and only one Lu Jie can be topped. With such a huge gap, whose mentality would not jump? Everyone looked at Lu Jie's eyes, and gradually changed from shock and admiration to numbness now. They watched Lu Jie come and go with empty eyes. I thought to myself, oh, great God, Lu has solved another fog, it's amazing. This day, Lu Jie is still going through the fog alone. But this place is far away, and it is Datong City, which is far from the Psychic Association in the 3rd District. He'd just dealt with the creepy creatures in the center of the fog in Chase City, and was about to pick up his loot as usual. Several figures suddenly rushed out of the surroundings. All of them were wearing black kendo training suits, with black inverted triangle masks tied on their faces, holding samurai swords, and surrounded Lu Jie in unison. Lu Jie stopped picking up the spirit crystal, and gave them a cold look. Iconic samurai head, and Sakura sword. There is no doubt that the awakened person of Sakura country. Hey, 7 6-star awakeners, plus 1 7-star awakener. This lineup, I really think highly of myself. 7 small and 3 big, a total of 10 awakened ones. With a sound of black assassination clothes, they perfectly blended into the night. Coupled with the cover of the fog on the field of vision, it has been hidden until now. This group of people from the Cherry Blossom country have been eyeing Lu Jie for a long time. They waited for Lu Jie to pass through the fog, consume a lot of energy, and attack when he was exhausted. What's more, this kid is so crazy that he dares to break into MIC by himself. It was a real surprise. Chinbin Hai and the others even felt that this was arranged by Amaterasu, who specially designed all this to let Lu Jie come here alone, waiting for them to kill. Although this kid is a bit strong, he actually cleared the level alone, which surprised the 10 people in Sakura Kingdom a lot. But so what? There are 10 of them. Everyone pulls out. The level is higher than Lu Jie. 3 of them are 7-star awakeners from the 4th district. You are a small 5-star awakener. Is it possible that you can beat 10 awakeners who are higher than yourself at the same time? Think here. The mouths of Chinbin and the others hidden under the mask were almost crooked. A sneer appeared on the corners of these people's mouths. Dragon Kingdom kid, wait to die. Begaya Road. Chinbin Hai cursed viciously. It's just that these people can't think of it. In fact, there is no big consumption at all for Lu Jie to clear the fog. His current level of source power should be able to reach the 6-star level. Hundreds of spirit crystals of 5th and 6th ranks are consumed every day like jelly beans. With such inhumane resources piled up, Lu Jie's source power is beyond the imagination of ordinary awakened people. It is easy to deal with the 6th order weirdness. What's more, for Lu Jie today, casting Hellfire is as easy and comfortable as drinking water. Those strange creatures, no matter whether they are 5th order or 6th order, will die as soon as they touch them, and they don't need any big consumption at all. Lu Jie, you, work hard. One of the masked assassins stood up and pointed a knife at Lu Jie. One mouthful is the strong flavor of cherry blossoms. Lu Jie looked at him calmly, unmoved. Jia, Lu Jie, you are already surrounded by us, you can't escape. Today is your death day. We will avenge our dead compatriots. Today you must be executed on the spot, and your corpse will be shredded into thousands of pieces. A few more excited 6th-level awakeners from the Sakura Kingdom stood up and cursed at Lu Jie. They endured humiliation and went through untold hardships before lurking into the Dragon Kingdom. Now that I have finally met my enemy, I can immediately kill him with my own hands, not to mention how happy I am. That's right, the assassination team in Sakura country is already hungry for the katana in their hands. Lu Jie kept silent and watched them perform quietly. Compared with yourself, this group of assassins from the Sakura country was very excited. Mainly because he was too lazy to waste his time talking. They brought guys to surround and kill themselves. When swords and swords face each other, it's either you die or I live, waste of words. Chinbin Hai spoke, with a deep and solemn voice. Under the mask, he only showed a pair of eyes, which were full of hatred for Lu Jie. Lu Jie, your crimes are too numerous to record, and there has never been a person as cruel as you in the history of human awakened. You slaughtered our country's innocent awakened people with extremely cruel methods, and you even razed the 3rd region of our country, Gao Tianyuan, to the ground. This action has caused irreparable trauma to the Great Cherry Blossom Empire. The impact is extremely bad. Because of you, our middle and lower level awakeners are completely broken. There will be quite a long vacuum period in the future. Because of you, my big cherry blossom people complained a lot, complaining about the incompetence of Tianzhaohui and Gao Tianyuan. Every day, we live in shame and anger. Every day, I wish I could commit seppuku to appease the emotions of the people and appease the anger of the people. And all of this was brought about by you. Shame, an absolute shame. Qinbin Hai became more and more excited as she talked, and finally roared at Lu Jie. You are the most evil and tyrannical devil. Today, on behalf of the souls of thousands of compatriots who died, we will come to seek your death. My life, my life, my life. Baga, cut this vicious boy from Longguo into pieces. Skinned and cramped. I can't wait to eat its flesh and drink its blood. Qinbin Hai's words completely detonated the emotions of the other 9 people. Their eyes were bloodshot, and they wished they could rush up immediately, chop Lu Jie into pieces, and chop them into meat paste. Shouting the national curse from the country of cherry blossoms in his mouth, he was emotional. The samurai sword in his hand faced the cold wind, emitting an icy cold light. It's just that Lu Jie still looked at them calmly, and waited until they finished cursing before saying with a smile. Oh, that's it, that's great. Your awakened ones from Gaoqianyuan in the 3rd district, the weak ones, were crushed casually. Isn't it good that such a weak chicken exists and disappears? Lu Jie's smile fell into the eyes of Qian Ben He and the others. Like sparks igniting a flame. Immediately, their chests heaved violently, panting heavily, and Lu Jie's 2 words of anger completely detonated. How can we tolerate you if you dare to speak hard when you are about to die? Sinben-san, please order. Kill this kid. Revenge for the dead compatriots. Today, he will die without a place to bury him. Qinbin Hai gritted her teeth, wishing she could crush her teeth. He couldn't suppress the fury in his heart, and squeezed out a sentence, kill. Boom. One order. The 10 assassin awakened erupted with surging source power in an instant. All kinds of supernatural powers came out, and the quiet night sky suddenly became chaotic. The blade is aimed at Lu Jie, swarming up. At the same time, the psychic association of the distant 3rd area. Chen Baishui sat alone on a chair, processing the documents from Sheng Chitang. Suddenly, a message was sent to her phone. Pick it up and have a look. Awakened people from Sakura country have sneaked into the 3rd area. At once, Chen Baishui's expression changed. She stood up suddenly, frowned and said, "Oops, they must be looking for Lu Jie." Chen Baishui's face was ugly. At this juncture, people from the Sakura kingdom sneaked in secretly, and they knew without thinking that they were dealing with Lu Jie. Chen Baishui looked down at the time when the message was sent, and remembered that Lu Jie had just left. She frowned and calculated, feeling that it was almost too late. Didn't think much about it. Chen Baishui immediately summoned the staff and decided to lead the team personally to quickly support Lu Jie. Hey, old Zhang, it's me. Immediately gather the idle awakened members of the association and ask them to wait for me at the helicopter square. Well, I just received news that people from Sakura Kingdom have sneaked into our country. I don't have time to explain the details, let's call people together first and then talk about it. In Datong City, the fog gradually dissipated, and the lights hazy in the wind and fog gradually became clear. On the increasingly bright long street, Lu Jie confronted the crowd with the most primitive flame posture. Dazzling 100 Blossoms abilities came in a mess. Lu Jie blocked it casually, and a big flaming bell appeared from the sky, covering his body. All the attacks fell on the flame bell, making a resonant sound like a yellow bell. Lu Jie, who was protected inside the big clock, was unharmed. The ability to manipulate Hellfire to transform into shapes at will has long been a basic skill for him. Seeing that all the attacks of himself and others were blocked, a trace of fear flashed in Qinbin Hai's eyes. But Lu Jie looked at them with a sneer, "Have you finished your moves? Then it's my turn. It happens that there is a trick that I haven't tried yet, so I will try it on you." Say it. Lu Jie stretched out his arms, and the flame bell that covered him instantly turned into a stream of flames and penetrated into his body. Next second, the fire broke out. The boundless fire expanded rapidly, and in the blink of an eye, the entire 1 kilometer radius was turned into a sea of fire. Powerful, unstoppable, 483, at the same time. Just around Lu Jie, a series of flame demons emerged from the ground silently and solemnly. They folded their hands on their chests, lowered their heads, and faced Lu Jie, like courtiers meeting their greatest king. Baga, what's going on here? The devil. It's the devil. Why have we seen this move? Could it be that the abilities of the people of the Dragon Kingdom also have the attribute of summoning? Insufficient information. Several cherry blossom kingdoms that were instantly enveloped by the flames of hell looked at the demons surrounding Lu Jie and bowed their heads, and all exclaimed. A total of 10 silent flame demons just quietly guarded Lu Jie's side, like rock-solid patron saints. If they want to hurt Lu Jie even the slightest bit, let's go across their corpses. Oh, does this scare you to pee? Seeing their horrified expressions, Lu Jie sneered. Then he gave the 10 flame demons an order to attack in his heart. Moment. These fiery demons who were originally facing Lu Jie solemnly, all rushed towards Qinbinhai's direction with murderous intent. Baga. Form formation. Form formation. Qinbinhai had never seen this kind of summoning attack method. Therefore, seeing 10 flaming demons attacking him, he hurriedly ordered to his teammates. This assassination team is an elite team carefully selected by Gao Tianyuan, the 4th district of Sakura country, under the instructions of Amaterasu. All of them are the best among the awakened ones. And cooperate tacitly. Therefore, after Captain Qinbinhai gave the order, they quickly formed a cherry blossom killing formation with exquisite positioning at the fastest speed. Pink petals from the other side of the ocean fall from the sky, seemingly fluttering and weak. But every petal has the ultimate lethality. When the first flame demon rushed in front of them, in an instant, dozens of pink petals cut it into an invisible fire, and it was no longer what it was before. Immediately afterwards, the second, third, and fourth flame demons seemed to have no emotion or intelligence, they only follow Lu Jie's orders. Even though he watched his companion being strangled by Sakura, he still charged forward without fear of death. Soon, these 10 flame demons were all wiped out under the collective formation of the Sakura Kingdom's assassination team. Hehe, I don't know what a powerful method it is, but it's just summoning some ignorant dead things. An assassin smiled disdainfully. Everyone else was also relieved. I feel that the demon summoned by Lu Jie looks like a bluff, but it's strong outside, so I can't help but fight it. However, Lu Jie just smiled. Next moment, Qinbinhai's pupils shrank. He instinctively felt his back, as if there were a few more strange breaths. And these auras are full of hostility. Look back. Instant horror. Isn't this the fire demon who was strangled by us just now? Why are you still there? The 3 flame demons remained silent, rushing into Jia team without fear of death. Because the 10 members of the entire Sakura Kingdom assassination team were all focused on the front. So the 3 flame demons got in without any difficulty. Subsequently, boom, a violent explosion sounded. The formation of the Sakura Kingdom's assassination team was instantly forced. Several team members were injured. Although Qinbinhai was not seriously injured, he was also agitated by the explosion just now. When he looked back, his eyes turned red instantly. On the ground, there are already 2 corpses from the Tier 6 team. Liu Sheng-kun, Yamamoto-kun. Several Sakura Kingdom assassins cried out in grief. They never expected that they lost 2 teammates when they waited for someone to come up. Lu Jie looked at them with a smile. It's not bad, this trick is not yet proficient. After all, it is a range-based ultimate move, and maintaining a hell demon at the same time is too resource-intensive. In general, although he could only kill 2 6-star awakeners and there were still 8 left, he was still satisfied. The remaining 8 people trembled when they heard Lu Jie's laughing voice. Looking at Lu Jie with shock and caution, Qinbinhai suppressed the grief in his heart, raised the samurai sword in his hand, pointed it in Lu Jie's direction, and said sternly, "Now you have the hatred of 2 more lives." Talking. He broke out completely, and a white tiger roared on the blade light. Qinbinhai jumped up, the blade in his hand roared like a deafening white tiger, and slashed on Lu Jie's head. The other 7 people also suppressed their emotions just now, took up weapons one after another, displayed their strongest killing moves, and cooperated with the captain to attack Lu Jie together. Swords, halberds, and dangerous lights flicker. Facing another explosive siege by 8 people, Lu Jie did not have the protection of the flame bell this time. Soon, they were hit by their attacks. Qin Binhai was overjoyed. His sword struck the other side's Tianling guy. The same goes for the others, who thought they had already succeeded. But the next moment, boom, a more explosive fire suddenly came from Lu Jie's body. The fire swept through everything, and instantly ejected them all. Wait until the fire closes and changes. Lu Jie's body has completely turned into a bone-like appearance of an evil spirit. And the injury that hit him just now is being repaired at a speed visible to the naked eye. In the blink of an eye, Lu Jie stood in front of them unharmed. Everyone in the Sakura kingdom was shocked by the flames. They watched as Lu Jie's pupils suddenly contracted to the size of a needle eye, and they trembled all over. It is this demon. This is the image. They will never forget. The fear that happened on the 3rd district of the Sakura country that day once again came to their hearts. Lu Jie controlled the Hellfire at will, and turned into a blood moon scimitar, which was burning with raging fire. Stepping on the ground, he walked to the 6th Order Awakener who was closer to him. With a single blow, he chopped off his head. Lu Jie stepped on his corpse, looked down at the other people who were sitting on the ground, and said with a sneer. Did you see it? Did you see it? That's how I slaughtered those trash from Gaoqianyuan in your 3rd district before. Now you are still shivering and trampled under my feet, what can I do? Facing Lu Jie's insult, Qin Binhai, who led the team, trembled angrily. He opened his mouth and roared, Baga. Holding the knife, the energy in his body surged, and he rushed towards Lu Jie desperately. Clang! The samurai sword surging with white tiger steam and Lu Jie's flaming scimitar slashed together, bursting out a burst of sparks. With both hands, Lu Jie suppressed Qin Binhai's body and kicked him flying. He had a thought. A silver-white soul chain suddenly appeared in the void. The silver-white chain danced around in the night sky, and then shot out instantly. 3 more 6-star awakened people had no time to react, so they were pierced through the chest, and their souls were crushed. The 3 of them rolled their eyes and their bodies softened, and they couldn't die anymore. The only remaining 6-star awakened person from the Cherry Blossom country sat on the ground with a pale face, swallowing hard as he watched Lu. Then Lu Jie stared, and the Eye of Judgment was activated. The body of the last 6-star awakened person stood upright like a corpse, while his soul was burned to nothingness by the Eyes of Judgment. Until his body became completely cold and stiff. So far, 7 6-star awakeners. There are only 3 7-star awakeners left. Holding a fire knife, Lu Jie walked over step by step, looked at the 3 7-stars who were too frightened to look directly at him, and said indifferently. Do you think that you have survived until now because of your strength? No, I just want you to watch them die. In my opinion, you are no different from ants. Qian Zhouai, who was suppressed by Lu Jie with one hand and then kicked flying, looked at him in horror. The other 2 7-star awakeners were also trembling with fear. The pupils reflect Lu Jie's figure like a bone-like evil spirit, like a demon walking out of the depths of hell. This guy is too strong. As Lu Jie gradually approached, the high temperature emitted by the blazing hellfire on his body reminded the 3 people of Sakura country all the time that it was the end of the road. If you don't fight hard, you may really die here, and you will fail the expectations of all the citizens of the great Cherry Blossom Empire. Baga, let's go together, we must kill him. One of the 7-star awakened had a hard face, struggled to get up, and picked up his sword. Qin Binhai and the other person also stood up, staring at Lu Jie with hatred. They knew that there was no way to retreat, and they were ready to fight to the death, and started desperately. Tread, tread. Footsteps reverberated in the empty street, crushing the calm, but not breaking the bloody mud all over the ground. Lu Jie looked expressionlessly at the 3 people who had burst out with their final conviction, facing the siege. They just waved their knives casually to meet them. They even allowed them to slash themselves with samurai swords, and then repaired by hellfire. Such an invulnerable evil spirit form completely shocked the 3 of Qin Binhai. There was anger and unwillingness in their eyes, as well as desperate, final madness. Captain Qinbin, I'm going to take that medicine. One person looked at Qinbin Lotus Leaf and said incomparably tragically. Qin Binhai's body trembled. He stared at that companion with wide eyes, watching him stuff a black-red elixir OL that he had prepared into his mouth. Bang bang, bang bang. There was a startling heartbeat. The 7-star awakened person who had taken the forbidden drug fell into a state of madness. That elixir is abnormally powerful and powerful. Once taken, it can erupt twice as powerful as usual. As a price, it will damage the awakened person's own foundation, and there is no possibility of repairing it. After this person took the medicine, the other person also resolutely drank a bottle of thick ink purple potion. Similar to that pill. After the person drank the potion, his eyes fell into tyrannical madness. His back twisted for a while, his spine and muscles grew wildly, and with a puff, a pair of blood-stained flash wings appeared. And the first person to take the medicine is also like a centipede. The body was forcibly elongated by the medicine, and countless deformed hands and feet grew out. Sato-kun, Tanaka-kun, Shinbin-hai watched his companions turn into monsters with their own eyes, and became the present appearance of human beings, ghosts and ghosts, crying bitterly on their knees, crying their names on their mouths. Only Liu Jie kept watching them coldly. Even if two of them took the banned drug face to face, their strength skyrocketed. He never changed his face. Ants are ants after all. The last struggle can only struggle. Hiss. Tanaka, who had turned into a human-shaped centipede, let out a mollusk-like, hissing sound, and rushed to Liu Jie in an instant. The extra dozen hands and feet all stretched out towards Liu Jie's body. And his deformed to twisted centipede body also overflowed with thick green poison. Poison mist can restrain all abilities in the world. Ice, fire, thunder, electricity, they all perish when they meet it. The centipede man still maintained his final sanity. He sneered and mocked. Despair, Dragon Country people, my poisonous mist is aimed at the source power in the awakened person's body. No matter how evil your flame is, it must be restrained to death by him. When Liu Jie saw the hellfire on his body, he would indeed retreat after encountering the green poisonous mist, knowing that what he said was true. Haha, really? But he just smiled lightly. Next second, Liu Jie suddenly increased the burst of source power in his body. Bang! The fire like a volcanic explosion swallowed everything around in an instant. Toxic fog, buildings, stone slabs, lampposts. Within a radius of 10 meters, everything was melted in the sea of flames. No, Tanaka-kun. Shinbin-hai suddenly widened his eyes, and saw that the body of the centipede in Tanaka was completely burned into nothingness by Liu Jie's flame. His pupils trembled, and he stretched out his arms, as if he wanted to save this former friend. But it was too late. Everything was reduced to ashes. You are the devil. You are the devil. I will kill you. Shinbin-hai, who witnessed the death of her friend, could no longer restrain the rage in her heart. He desperately rushed towards Liu Jie like a madman. Liu Jie lightly raised his hand, a burst of fire hit his chest, blasting him to the ground. Cough cough. Shinbin-hai clutched his chest and spat out a mouthful of blood. Liu Jie came over, stepped on his chest, and looked down indifferently. Click. One foot crushed his sternum completely. The last moment before death. Fear, unwillingness and despair remained in Shinbin-hai's eyes. He couldn't figure it out. Why do I have so many people, and my realm completely crushes the opponent? But he was still destroyed by others. The fog has completely dissipated. The ground was littered with dead bodies. The bursting hellfire made a crackling sound under the blowing of the night wind. Liu Jie stared at the flame pupils and looked up. Among the 10 members of the Sakura kingdom who came to assassinate him, only the last one was left who grew fleshy wings and flew into the sky after taking the forbidden medicine. At this moment, there was the sound of rumbling helicopter propellers spinning in the sky. Chen Baishui arrived with someone just in time. The helicopter is gradually approaching here. The people above happened to see the awakened person from the Sakura kingdom flying into the sky. Everyone's eyes shook, exclaimed one by one, crazy. The people of Sakura country really dare to risk the world's disgrace by combining the genes of weird creatures with human genes. Chen Baishui's pretty face was as cold as ice when he saw the flying monster. For a while, all the awakened people of the Dragon Kingdom who came to support were indignant, cursing the Sakura Kingdom for being insane. It was simply a pervert. At this time, roar. The monster with fleshy wings and flying into the sky let out a deep roar from its throat, which seemed strange rather than human. Then it slammed into the helicopter. Not good. There are quite a few people in the helicopter, but no matter how powerful they are, they can't fly. If you are attacked by a monster and fall from the air to the ground, you will not die or be disabled. Chen Baishui's eyes turned cold, watching the attacker who was about to make a move. Suddenly, a flash of fire flashed across the sky. The fire was as bright as a meteor in the sun, and it was also entwined with the chain of burning souls. It changed instantly and killed the monster turned into a blood mist by the awakened person of the cherry blossom country. Before the thorny monster was about to die, it howled and screamed, "Lu Jie! Our great cherry blossom empire's pursuit of you will never end." Next moment, it was completely reduced to bright red fireworks. Lu Jie docked on the evil spirit motorcycle, listened to his last threat, and sneered. "I don't care at all." On the helicopter, Chen Baishui was stunned. If you read it correctly, it is a 7-star awakener, plus a monster transformed by using taboo methods, right? Lu Jie actually took it for an instant. After the helicopter hovered and all the awakened ones landed one after another. They looked at the corpses all over the ground, and they were even more shocked. Everyone's scalp was numb, and goosebumps appeared all over their bodies. Full of blood, all limbs, a ruin, no one has a place to stay. Chen Baishui was also dumbfounded, she was completely dumbfounded. I rushed to lead people to rescue. As a result, Lu Jie solved all the assassins by himself. Suddenly, there was an angry voice from behind. Looking back, it was Wu Di. This man who wanted to be strong in his life was once again shocked by Lu Jie's masterpiece. A group of people came in a hurry and left with their jaws dropped in shock. On the helicopter back, everyone sat respectfully opposite Lu Jie. No matter how thorny people are on weekdays, they were honest at this moment, and they didn't dare to take a breath. Sitting next to Lu Jie, Chen Baishui looked at him with complicated eyes. Wu Di remained silent for a moment. With a shy face again, he approached Lu Jie and asked questions. It seemed that if he knew the battle process clearly, he could also do the same feat as Lu Jie. Lu Jie closed his eyes tightly, sitting still like an old monk, and didn't want to pay attention to him. Almost suffocated Wu Di to death. Soon the helicopter flew back to the Psionic Association. Chairman Zheng Haiyang led the audience to look forward to it again. After all, now Lu Jie's identity is completely different. It can be said that it is famous all over the world, and it is famous all over the world. The Academy of the Holy Spirit has also expressed its focus on him. If Lu Jie died here in the 3rd district, I'm afraid that people in the entire Dragon Kingdom can drown him with spittle stars. After seeing Lu Jie returning safely from the helicopter, Zheng Haiyang breathed a sigh of relief. His heart can no longer be stimulated. Others pulled over their acquainted rescue friends and asked curiously about the whole rescue process. It turned out that everyone faltered, looked embarrassed, and did not have the joy of returning from victory. What happened? Did the group of little cherry blossom ghosts escape? Some awakened people have doubts. Ahem, a returning rescue teammate coughed twice in a low voice, and then poked him with his elbow. The rescue team member whispered, "We didn't let them run away, but they were all killed by Lu Jie alone." What did you just say? Really or not? Unexpectedly, when the man heard this, his eyes widened instantly, and he looked at the rescue teammate in shock. The latter covered his face with his hands helplessly. Why is this person so low in EQ? Why is he yelling so loudly? Didn't everyone in the association hear this? Really? After the previous brother's loud voice, everyone realized what might have happened. All of them with bright eyes dragged the acquainted rescue team members like 8 women at the mouth of a village, and began to ask the specific situation in a hurry. Not long, everyone knows the scene at that time. For a while, all the awakened were stunned. They smacked their lips and looked at Lu Jie in disbelief. The younger generation felt cold. This is too perverted, isn't it? 3 7-star powerhouses, they are the bosses of the 4th district, and he solved them all by himself. Hiss. It's scary. It seems that my brother Lu's strength has broken through the surface and reached the sky. Tisk tisk, the awakened people of Sakura country have suffered a big loss this time. A group of people were amazed. But apart from shocking Lu Jie's strength, no one feels sorry for Sakura country. In all eyes, the Sakura country is asking for its own humiliation, seeking death by itself, and has no one to blame. The other side, Chen Baishui looked at Lu Jie unkindly. Be careful in the future, the people in Sakura country are very dark, they won't let it go. Lu Jie nodded indifferently. Understood, it's not like I haven't been to the cherry blossom country. Chen Baishui stared, and knew that this kid didn't take her seriously. Unhappily said, look at you can do it. Go back. Lu Jie nodded. Back to his room. This time, the weird fog in Datong City has revealed a lot of good things. It is this group of assassins from the Sakura Kingdom who are too poor. I don't know if they have a long-awaited desire to die or what, all of them are poor and white, and Mao can't find any of them. Put all the resources harvested this time in front of you. Lu Jie meditated with his legs crossed for a while, and then began to digest. Ding! Congratulations to the increase in host strength. Reward template integration. Current fusion degree, 30%. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully unlocking a new skill, Hellflame Horse. Lu Jie was taken aback. Have you acquired new skills? He quickly opened the system to take a look. Soon he understood the power of this new mount. The Hellfire horse is a magic horse from Hell. Its strength does not have a clear limit, but depends on Lu Jie's strength and how strong Hellfire is. It's a bit like a contract beast. From the depths of the soul, bond with Lu Jie. As long as Lu Jie needs it, he can be summoned from Hell at any time. So without saying a word, Lu Jie used his mind to control the brand new horse to gallop out. Immediately, a skeleton horse with raging hellfire all over its body appeared in front of Lu Jie with eyes as bright as the daylight. It uses hellfire as flesh and blood, filled with white bones. Under the handsome and majestic appearance, there is a violent and extremely destructive power. The four hooves of the hell flame horse also burn with flames, but they can control the temperature very well. It can only leave traces of flame burning on the ground without damaging the floor. Lu Jie smiled and touched the horse's head. The flame horse of hell also rubbed its burning head towards Lu Jie's arms affectionately. Resisting the ambition of galloping the horse, Lu Jie watched it for a long time before letting the hell horse return to the void. Practice this time. Not only did he unlock a brand new mount, the hell flame horse, but he also gained a lot of strength. Lu Jie reckoned that the source power in his body could already beat all the awakened people in the third area. Next half month, Lu Jie, who eats the marrow and knows the taste, is like eating xuanmai, and he can't stop at all. It's so cool to monopolize a fog resource. In the past half a month, Lu Jie can be said to have been racing all the way. The strange fog in Jinzhou City was affected by the opening of the 6th district. All the strange creatures in the fog mutated, and their strength soared. The more than 100 awakened people who went to perform the mission were almost wiped out inside. After getting the news, Lu Jie rode alone and broke into the fog alone. With his own strength, he cleared the entire Golden State fog. Then there is the left plain area. A large fog covering the entire 7 cities appeared here. The degree of danger is directly off the table. However, after Lu Jie went in. In just half a day, all the strange fog in the entire Longzhou plain was cleared away. Directly numbed the scalp of the entire 3rd district. When Zhang Haiyang heard the news, his hand holding the thermos was uncomfortable. The little secretary next to him counted with his fingers. Lu Dashan solves the fog in an average of 1 hour. Quote, there are 7 cities in the Longzhou plain, so it's reasonable to settle them in half a day. Zhang Haiyang glanced at his naive little secretary with a wry smile. Why don't you play addition with me here? So count. Give Lu Jie a month, will he be able to wipe out all the weird areas in the world? Hesitant about the existence of Lu Jie. The casualty rate of the awakened in the 3rd area has dropped significantly. Because almost all the fog is monopolized by him alone. The resources of a piece of mist that one person enjoys alone are so rich that it is outrageous. Not to mention so many fogs. The awakened people in the 3rd district watched Lu Jie return with a full load every time, and they were so envious that the chickens turned purple. But no one felt any emotion. Very simple. The global weird recovery, strength is king. If you have the ability, you can apply to go through the strange fog alone. The question is, if the top management dares to approve, do you dare to go? If an ordinary genius does this, he might die without knowing how to die. Half a month later, Lu Jie came to Chen Baishui's office and broke in directly. Unexpectedly, she happened to be changing stockings, and her long white legs almost blinded Lu Jie's eyes. Chen Baishui glared at him in embarrassment. Remember to knock on the door next time you come in. Lu Jie coughed twice in embarrassment, but still stared intently. I'm here to apply for fixed star, enter the 4th district. Chen Baishui was startled when he heard the words, then continued to change the stockings and nodded. She had already prepared for this. She judged that Lu Jie would apply to enter the 4th district within half a year, and at least 2 months. It's just that I didn't expect it to be so fast, and only half a month passed. Chapter 81. As for the matter of setting stars, Lu Jie is more at ease and leaves it to Chen Baishui. Although this woman has been chasing her since the 1st district, she handles things in an orderly manner without any chaos. After all, she was also one of the celebs who had been ranked in the sequence seed and had the opportunity to enter the Holy Spirit Academy. Not long after Lu Jie returned, the little secretary of the president Zhang Haiyang knocked on the door and said that the star walking ceremony could be held in the afternoon. Lu Jie nodded after hearing this, indicating that he understood. It's just that the chairman's little secretary didn't seem to hear him, standing at the door and looking at his face coyly, as if fascinated. Cough cough. Last resort. Lu Jie had to cough twice to remind her. What? The little secretary reacted in a panic, a strange red glow appeared on her face, and she ran away shyly. Lu Jie looked at the back of the little secretary, feeling baffled. At noon, Lu Jie was meditating in the room to adjust the source power in his body. Time flies. Wait until the afternoon. Lu Jie walked out of the room on time, and when he came to the star-fixing hall, he was immediately taken aback by the huge crowd in front of him. Obediently, are these people free and all right? Why are they all crowded into the star-fixing hall? I have never seen them so caring. When the crowded crowd saw Lu Jie coming, they were even more excited to the point of making a lot of noise. Look, great God, Lu is here. The news is indeed true. Lu Jie is really coming to fix the star today. My God, it's only been about 20 days since the last time I was rated as a 5-star awakener. Let me calculate that when Master Lu first crossed the district, he was still a 4-star star, and now he has just arrived in less than a month and a half. Hiss, so scary. You have been promoted to 2 great realms in a month and a half. I'm a good boy, even riding a rocket is not as fast as him, isn't it? A group of people stared at Lu Jie closely, and made exclamation sounds from their mouths. And as Lu Jie gradually moved in, these people's heads seemed to be equipped with an automatic navigation device, and their eyes automatically followed Lu Jie's deflection. President, Vice President. After Lu Jie walked in, he nodded to Zhang Haiyang and Chen Baishui. As for the other high level, he is not very familiar with him, and he is too lazy to greet him. Coming. Zhang Haiyang smiled. He looked at Lu Jie with satisfaction. The more he looked at it, the more he liked it. He is old and can't move. Now being able to witness the rise of a genius with his own eyes is very meaningful to Zhang Haiyang. Go, watch your performance later. Chen Baishui is wearing a flower blue cheongsam today, with beautiful ostriches and purple roses on it. It perfectly sets off her mature and plump curves. Every frown and smile shows the charm of femininity. Behind Chen Baishui and Zhang Haiyang is the little secretary who sent messages to Lu Jie in the morning. Holding the document at this moment, he lowered his head and dared not look at him. I don't know what I'm thinking. Finally boarded the star-fixing instrument again. The person in charge here, the little old man, graciously brought Lu Jie the measurement equipment. The lines and conduits connecting the external large screen and testing instruments, the installation is complete. Here, only Lu Jie was left. With the operation of the measuring machine. The pure and huge source power in Lu Jie's body was mobilized one after another. His body surface showed a faint red light, which was the embodiment of Yuanli. 99% of the human resources in the world are characterized by dark red, which is exactly the same as spirit crystals. Of course, there are very few heterogeneous ones, and the source force is characterized by other colors. Just as there are mutated individuals among strange creatures. There are exceptions to everything. After a while, Lu Jie's source power reached its active peak state. And all are reflected on the big screen outside along the equipment. I saw that the stars above have steadily risen from 1, 2 to 4. And finally crossed the 5th and reached the point of 6 stars. Wow, there was a commotion at the scene. Everyone's scalp was numb, although they had expected this result in their hearts. But in reality, I have witnessed the unparalleled impact of the national species. It's still strong and somewhat unimaginable. Sure enough, I succeeded in fixing the star. What a monster. Great God, Lu has been promoted to the 6-star realm so quickly. Is he going to leave us soon? It should be. After all, the resources here are not so effective for him now. Lu Jie is so fierce, I don't know if he can enter the Holy Spirit Academy in the future. Sure, I think he can do it too. It's a sure thing. The matter about sequence seeds is top secret, and not many awakened people in the entire Dragon Kingdom know about it. Otherwise, if the information of these young people who possess the top and most talented people in the entire Dragon Kingdom is known to foreign forces, once they send someone to assassinate them, this will deal a fatal blow to the future of the entire Dragon Kingdom. So everyone doesn't know that Lu Jie is already at sequence 100, and half of his foot has already stepped into the Holy Spirit Academy. The star is fixed. Everything will happen naturally and logically. After Lu Jie came down, Zheng Haiyang smiled from ear to ear. He looked at Lu Jie with both reluctance and expectation. Which president is willing to leave such a super genius who is efficient and efficient? You know, talking about performing weird and confusing tasks. Lu Jie alone can surpass 1,000 awakened ones. The fog he had cleared had 20 if not 30 pieces. This can be regarded as Zheng Haiyang's fruitful political achievements. But Zheng Haiyang was clear in his heart that it was impossible for a genius like Lu Jie to stay in one area for a long time. After all, they soared all over the world and walked towards the vast sea and sky that belonged to them. Chen Baishui held a brand new 6-star epaulette in front of Lu Jie with a smile. Just as Lu Jie was about to end, she dodged the arm holding the epaulette. Brat, I'll wear it for you. Chen Baishui winked at her charmingly. Oh, behind him came the booing of a group of male awakened people. In the laughter of the crowd, Chen Baishui personally helped Lu Jie wear the 6-star awakened shoulder badge. After wearing the badge, Lu Jie non-stop asked the chairman Zheng Haiyang, President, I want to apply to be promoted to the 4th district. Please help me arrange the assessment task. Zheng Haiyang knew that he would make such a remark, and nodded with a smile. Don't worry, I have done the formalities for you in advance a few days ago. After 3 days, you will be formally assessed. If you pass the assessment, you will be able to enter the 4th district smoothly. Lu Jie was shocked when he heard this. You will be able to participate in the assessment in 3 days, which is very efficient. He looked back at Chen Baishui and found that the woman was blinking at him. It's clear in my heart. She must have started to arrange everything. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. That day Chen Baishui came to knock on the door in person and brought Lu Jie to the assessment site. The assessment site is located in an independent area, far away from the Psionic Association. Is a unique space. Chen Baishui pointed to the vortex-like space crack in front of him and introduced. Starting from the 3rd area, the place of the assessment has become 9 heavens of illusion. This is similar to the simulated training grounds in major regions, but the upper limit is higher and the simulation is more realistic. Why? If the simulated training ground can reach 90% or even 99%, then this place can reach 100%. Entering the 9 heavens of illusion requires your consciousness to be invested in it. At that time, your entire spiritual body will be stripped out. Chen Baishui paused here, looked at Lu Jie seriously, and said solemnly. In other words, if you die inside, your physical body outside will also perish. Lu Jie raised his brows and asked in surprise, so ruthless? Chen Baishui nodded, because this is the treasure left by the former dean of the Holy Spirit Institute. The last level is also the fighting consciousness left by the former dean. Although there are only instinctive fighting skills, it is undoubtedly the most difficult one, level. I forgot to mention that the current rule set by the Academy of the Holy Spirit that the awakened people in the country cannot kill each other was made by him. Lu Jie listened to the introduction silently, and gradually understood the gold content of the crack in time and space in front of him. A treasure built by the former dean with all his efforts. That is a heavenly superpower, the product of the former Dragon Kingdom's #1 master in the world. Certainly not to be underestimated. Chen Baishui also introduced. The current record for this fantasy world is a 30-minute speedrun. The holder is the first in the current sequence. That is, the mysterious genius who is the strongest in Dragon Kingdom. After listening to all of Chen Baishui's introductions, Lu Jie didn't feel much fear. He took a deep breath and stepped into it. Just go in. It's like entering another time and space. Everything is too realistic. The sky is blue and the clouds are white, and the snow sings. The breeze is blowing and the sun is warm. It seems that Lu Jie just passed through any door of Doraemon and came to another space. Sudden. The world in front of me is changing suddenly, and all the clouds converge into a big number, 1. Then, the three-headed sixth order was weird, and jumped out with grinning teeth. Is it just 3 heads and 6 levels of weirdness? Lu Jie glanced at them lightly and stared. The eye of judgment instantly killed the weirdness in the middle. A silver-white chain flew through the sky. Like a white flash, it instantly pierced the other 2 sixth-order strange bodies, bringing up a bloody flower. Pass the first hurdle easily. Outside the illusion, Chen Baishui's big bright eyes kept staring at the space-time rift. She was wondering whether Lu Jie could break the record. Within the secret realm of the assessment, the second level is about 6 sixth-order monsters. The difficulty is doubled. 6 sixth-order monsters sneaked in from all directions. One even came out of Lu Jie's feet, making it hard to guard against. Crucial moment. Lu Jie's whole body was covered with hellfire, and he smashed down with a pair of fire fists. The weirdness from the ground only popped out ahead and died on the spot. The other 5 weirdos also had to dodge urgently because of the soaring hellfire. Obviously, he didn't expect the level breaker's ability to be so perverted. Even a few meters away, there is a feeling of being roasted. Lu Jie was expressionless, and his thoughts controlled the hellfire to form a grand lotus. The petals of dark and bright gold exude an extremely terrifying atmosphere. Whoosh whoosh, the hellfire lotus rotated at high speed, shooting out countless coquettish petals. The petals submerged into the strange bodies of the other 5 sixth-order monsters, creating countless blood holes in an instant. It all seems complicated. In fact, it is only completed in 10 seconds. 10 seconds later, the second level, broken. The clouds in the sky in the secret space suddenly changed, and soon condensed into the number 3. 9 sixth-order monsters appeared slowly. There was no wave on Lu Jie's face. With so many weird creatures joining forces, other geniuses might have weak legs. Wu Di and his like even tried to run away. But for Lu Jie, there is really no difficulty. Soon, the third level will be passed. The fourth level, 26th order weirdos. Lu Jie summoned the evil spirit motorcycle, added hellfire to condense the spear, and crushed him to death all the way. The fifth stage, 36th order monsters. Halfway through the level, the difficulty has also increased by a few. For the cross-region geniuses who came to challenge, this is not only the ultimate test of combat power, but also a challenge to endurance and willpower. All assessments simulate the actual situation. In reality, you may experience physical exhaustion, exhaustion of source power and other phenomena, which will also happen here. Cannot be replenished after customs clearance. This is the devil's difficulty of the 9 heavens of illusion. But, quantity is no problem for Lu Jie. Before breaking through the 6-star realm, he was able to slaughter the entire 3rd district of Gao Tianyuan. Faced with 10 assassination teams with the participation of high-level awakened people, they can easily kill them. Therefore, 30, 40, and 6th-level monsters have no effect on Lu Jie. Even if there are 100 of them, as long as there are evil spirit motorcycles around, they can be killed quickly. The 6th pass. The content of the test has changed. It's no longer a 6th-order weirdness. It is the 7th-order weirdness that is stronger and more dangerous. The level gap between the awakened ones can be seen from the spirit crystal exchange ratio. Therefore, the 7th level of 3 heads and the 6th level is weird, not weaker than the 6th level of 100 heads. Lu Jie drives the ghost motorcycle and summons the soul chain. Instant kill again without breaking a sweat. The 7th level, 7th level weirdness. Lu Jie's eyes became a little serious. In front of him, he could reach the point of instant seconds. But in the face of 6 7th order monsters, there is no way to make a quick decision. Ordinary awakened people, if they can defeat the strangeness of the same level, they are already considered a little genius. And the 7th order weirdness will only appear in the 4th area. Therefore, it can be said that Lu Jie has reached the assessment standard after breaking through the barrier so far. As long as he exits now, he can go to the 4th district smoothly and join his sister. But Lu Jie chose to move on. He wants to go down to see the ultimate space treasure from the previous dean of the Holy Spirit Academy, and what levels are waiting for him in the future. Among them, it may also be mixed with the spirit of forging ahead from young people. This barrier can be broken by others, why can't I break it? In a minute, the ground is in a mess, and there are scorched black and brown nitrates from the flames burning the soil everywhere. Obviously burned by a large-scale flame. Lu Jie drove the evil spirit motorcycle, relying on the fire demon summoned in the new skill of the flame hell, trapped the 3-headed 7-level strangeness. The other 3 were beheaded by him. The soul chain bound one, pulled out the soul, and was burned to death by Hellfire. The last 2, under Lu Jie's continuous charge, were pierced with countless holes by the flame spear, and fell to the ground in panic. So Lu Jie came to the penultimate level. At the weird moment of the 7th level, the number increased from 6 to 9. The difficulty has risen again. Soul Cage. I don't know what assessment content will be encountered in the last level. But Lu Jie doesn't seem like a waste of time and energy. He manipulated the soul chain to turn into an exquisite silver cage, which fell from the sky. Before the 9 strange 7th order monsters that had just appeared could react, they trapped it. Ah, ah, roar. The 9 7th order monsters trapped in the cage kept patting the soul cage with their claws. The latter remained unmoved. They continued to roar in fury. With serious eyes, Lu Jie walked towards them step by step, unmoved. The effect of the soul chain is all kinds of strange. However, only one specific effect can be exerted at the same time. The soul spear is invincible, killing a single or a small number of enemies in seconds, without any disadvantage. The enemy is often unable to react and is stabbed to death, and then his soul is drawn out and burned to death. The soul cage is as solid as a rock. The enemies it controls, unless the strength gap is too large, will never be able to escape from it. At this moment, Lu Jie trapped all the 7 levels of weirdness together in one fell swoop. He clasped his hands together, and a bursting flame compressed to the extreme slowly condensed out. And it expands rapidly with the continuous influx of source power. After a few breaths, the exploding fireball has grown to the size of the soul cage. Brilliant heavenly power, like the coming of the great sun. Lu Jie held this artificial little sun high, pointed it forward, and sipped lightly. Go. Boom. The fireball moved forward slowly but firmly. Because the power contained in it is too violent and huge. Lu Jie needs to be careful to keep it running smoothly. This difficulty is no less than compressing infusion in a 1 cubic meter reactor. Therefore, the forward speed is slow, and someone needs to trap the enemy firmly. In this way, Lu Jie can control the little sun and destroy the enemy. Boom! An earth-shattering explosion resounded through the sky. There was a tremor under Lu Jie's feet. The ground cracked and an amazing sinkhole exploded. A huge mushroom cloud rose slowly. There are thousands of meters high. Such a terrifying power. Of course, there were no bones of the 9 7th order monsters left, and there were no scums left after being destroyed by the high temperature and explosion. Call. Lu Jie let out a breath. In this way, the 8th level is also solved. What awaits him next is the rumored fighting consciousness left by the former dean. That's the former dean of the Holy Spirit Academy. The awakened who once stood at the pinnacle of the entire Dragon Kingdom, a heaven-level super boss. How terrifying is the fighting consciousness he left behind? Lu Jie didn't know, but he's excited. Heart starts to speed up. Dopamine rushes in. He is looking forward to this last battle. The sky is cloudy and cloudy. Quickly condensed into the last number, 9. A person suddenly appeared on the ground. Lu Jie frowned and looked over. Do not know why. This figure looks familiar. Wait until it gets closer. He finally saw the other person's appearance clearly. It was a drunk, just disregarding the unshaven beard and the messy hair like a chicken coop. Apart from being drunk, he looks heroic and young. Lu Jie was taken aback. Isn't this person the drunk old man I met earlier? It turned out that he was the former Dean Wan. It turned out that the former dean was him. The moment Lu Jie saw the drunk, everything came to his mind. This old man is Sikong Hao. No wonder the old man is so mysterious. When he mentioned the Holy Spirit Academy, his tone was still so. Lu Jie paused, but couldn't find a suitable adjective. He is the former Dean of the Holy Spirit, a man who was once in charge of the highest organization in the Dragon Kingdom. Of course he is qualified to comment on the Academy of the Holy Spirit. But now is not the time to discuss the Academy of the Holy Spirit. The drunk has rushed up. Whoosh! His body turned into a gray afterimage on the spot. Liu Jie hadn't had time to see the movement clearly. Next second, boom, a powerful back kick landed on Liu Jie's head hard. Liu Jie retreated urgently, covering his face with his arms. However, he was kicked several meters away by the heavy force of the drunk man. Very strong. The legs drew a long, 817, ravine on the ground, and Liu Jie was secretly startled. Both his arms were numb. The block just now was almost equivalent to the potential energy of a cannonball hitting him. As expected of the former Dean's fighting spirit when he was young, very strong. And, how did he teleport to me? After the drunkard hit just now, he didn't rush to make a move. Give Liu Jie a short time to think. Judging from that afterimage, the drunk man flashed in front of his eyes from 100 meters away, and it probably took less than one frame. Could it be spatial ability? Reminiscent of the first time he saw a drunk, he shot the experience. Liu Jie's face became completely serious. Flaming hell. With a low drink, with Liu Jie as the center, within a radius of 1 kilometer, raging hellfires ignited. At the same time, a total of 12 hell demons slowly stretched out from the ground silently. But instead of facing themselves, these hell demons turned towards the drunkard instead. A total of 12 demons protect Liu Jie at the core. If the outside world wants to attack Liu Jie, it must break through the protection of these 12 hell demons. At the same time, Sikong Hao moved again. A cross starlight flashed on him. Then the whole person disappeared in place. Liu Jie saw it for real this time. It really is the mysterious and tricky space ability. When he stays vigilant and pays attention to the surrounding environment at all times, in case Sikong Hao's projection suddenly attacks. There was a crackling sound in the sky. Liu Jie's heart sank, and he secretly thought it was not good. The 12 demons of the flaming hell can defend the front, rear, left, and right directions, but they can't defend against the sky and the ground alone. Now, Sikong Hao's projection is precisely the use of space powers to attack from the sky. Liu Jie made a quick decision, knowing that there was no way to hide. Immediately enters the evil spirit form. The fragile body instantly turned into dense bones, and the power of the hellfire became more violent. Kang! In Sikong Hao's hand was a half-meter-long jackknife, slashing at the junction of Liu Jie's neck and shoulder. The sharp blade also has the attribute of space cutting. It directly removed half of Liu Jie's shoulder. At the same time, there was a sound like a broken mirror in the surrounding space. The 12 hell demons summoned by Liu Jie were also crushed into nothingness by a ruthless force of space. The severed limbs fell to the ground, turned into hellfire in the process, and gathered around Liu Jie again. Hellfire squirmed. Liu Jie's arm, which had been cut off, recovered again. His eyes are piercing, but sparkling with excitement. Because, I have already seen through the strength of this projection. This is the consciousness projection of the dignified former Dean of the Holy Spirit Institute when he was young, and it is not weak. But, although the projection has inherited 100% of his fighting skills and abilities when he was young, but only without wisdom and self-awareness, and the realm is also suppressed to the point of 6 stars. Otherwise, that knife cut off half of Liu Jie's body, rather than an arm. After finding out the strength of this last level, Liu Jie became more confident. His mind controlled the distant soul chain to return quickly. With a momentum exceeding the speed of sound, it is wrapped in a sonic boom and shot like lightning. Across star flashes, the space system ability is still faster than the speed of sound. Sikong Hao's projection escaped the attack of the soul chain and flashed to the other side. But at this time, a deafening roar came. Sikong Hao in the 9th level looked back and found that Liu Jie was already driving an evil spirit motorcycle, turned into a stream of flames, and held a flaming spear. Unstoppable hit his body. Pooh! The flaming spear accurately pierced Sikong Hao's projected stomach, and the hellfire spread rapidly. Less than a second, melted into nothingness. A burst of crystal starlight appeared in front of it, slowly rising into the sky and melting into the sky. This projection has returned to the secret realm of the 9 heavens of illusion. And that means, Lu Zhe has officially passed the level. Breakthrough levels in one breath. At the same time, the outside world has already surrounded many people. There are major events involving super talent cross-regional assessments, which usually attract a lot of people who eat melons. At this moment, a group of people are discussing in front of the space-time rift. 20 minutes have passed, and I don't know what level the people inside have broken through. According to the average data, it is probably in the 6th stage. It is estimated that it will pass the assessment in a short time and quit voluntarily. Big mistake. Do you know who is inside? Lu Zhe. God. How could he quit voluntarily? Lu Zhe. Who is this guy? Hiss. He couldn't be the werewolf who slaughtered the 3rd district of Sakura country by himself last month. The assessment secret realm is independent of the 6 major psychic associations, and many people don't know who is participating in the assessment today. At this moment, Lu Zhe's name came out. Everyone is very excited. If it were Lu Zhe, would he pass the 9 levels directly? Probably. I just don't know if I can break the record. Difficult. After all, the current record is the number 1 in the sequence. The man said here and shut up quickly. With a guilty conscience, he glanced at the reactions of the people around him, and wanted to slap himself. How did you almost reveal the top secret sequence seed? Fortunately, no one else reacted much. Regarding the sequence, the vast majority of people have limited levels and have never heard of it. Naturally, there will be no discussion. In a corner far away from the crowd, Chen Baishui's pretty face was very indifferent, exuding the aura of an iceberg beauty. Therefore, no one dared to step forward to provoke. She looked at the crack in the secret realm, and her mind was full of Lu Zhe. You brat, I've been in for 20 minutes, and I don't know how many levels I've reached. With his strength, it would be great if he could complete it within 30 minutes. Just thought so. The space-time rift above the secret realm suddenly erupted with intense light. After the light shines, a majestic and mechanical voice came from the secret realm, crossing the barrier successfully. At the same time, Lu Zhe also teleported out of it. This time, everyone in the audience was dumbfounded. They stood there in a daze, staring at Lu Zhe blankly. The lively discussion just now came to an abrupt end. Into a brief silence. A few seconds passed. Boom! Everyone exclaimed, looking at Lu Zhe with disbelief. The scene was a sensation. In just 20 minutes, he passed the assessment. Some of the elite awakened who knew the inside story felt like a stormy sea in their hearts. Lu Zhe not only broke the record of number 1 in the current sequence, but also reached an unprecedented 20 minutes. What is this concept? They looked at Lu Zhe, unable to believe what they saw and heard. Could it be that there are more talented geniuses in this world than sequence number 1? Then why is Lu Zhe not number 1 in the sequence? What kind of monster is this? Chen Baishui covered her cherry lips with her hand, unable to close her mouth from ear to ear. There was a lot of splendor in her beautiful eyes. Unexpectedly, Lu Zhe gave her another big surprise. After Lu Zhe was teleported from the secret realm of the 9 heavens of illusion, he seemed very calm. There was no trace of record-breaking arrogance and domineering on his face. Seeing this, everyone nodded and praised. Without domineering, a genius with such a calm mind, his future achievements will be even more limitless. Lu Zhe walked to Chen Baishui's side. Chen Baishui held back the shock in his heart and exclaimed, "Congratulations, you have successfully broken the record." She seemed to think of something interesting, and the corner of her mouth curled up. "However, from now on, your name will spread to farther places, and you will be followed by more and stronger people. Are you afraid?" Lu Zhe looked indifferent. "I have nothing to be afraid of." The calm tone reveals undoubted overbearing and self-confidence. Chen Baishui took a deep look at him and did not refute. Lu Zhe's performance has completely exceeded her expectations. This means, my own vision is still far behind the pace of this young genius. Then the two got on the helicopter and returned to the 3rd district to report the results. After the President Zhang Haiyang received the news from the person in charge of the secret realm, his first reaction was that it was impossible. He asked repeatedly 3 times, and after getting the same exact answer, his heart suddenly started beating faster. In 20 minutes, speed passed the assessment of the secret realm. On the basis of breaking the record, the time has also been greatly advanced. This, Lu Zhe is not just a genius. He frowned with infinite emotion. Aged and well-informed, Zhang Haiyang finally understands that Lu Ji's limit is far beyond the imagination of himself and others. When Lu Jie returned to the Psychic Association by helicopter, it was found that many people had gathered at the gate. Chairman Zhang Haiyang took the lead, followed by several vice-chairmen and high-level officials from other departments, holding various certificates, badges, and spirit crystals and other resources in their hands. As soon as it landed, Lu Jie hasn't reached the gate yet. Zhang Haiyang brought people up with smiles all over his face. Congratulations, 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 congratulations. You were able to successfully pass the test of the secret realm and break the historical record. You have really earned a lot of face for our 3rd District Psychic Association. The creases on Zhang Haiyang's smiling face were squeezed together. Lu Jie took the trophies and badges suspiciously, secretly suspicious. Strangeness. Why is the chairman's attitude so enthusiastic? Lu Jie murmured in his heart. The specific resource rewards were sent to his room by the higher-ups. Zhang Haiyang took Lu Ji's hand kindly and said, "You have passed the assessment, and I will arrange the rest for you. 2 days later, you will be able to take the certificate and go to the 4th district." Hearing these words, Lu Ji's whole body was lifted. After working hard for so long, I finally made another big step forward. So he also smiled and said, "It's really hard for the president to have such a high efficiency." Zhang Haiyang quickly waved his hands. "No hard work. No hard work." A group of people laughed. The scene was full of joyful atmosphere. At this time, at the other end of the Dragon Kingdom, the 5th Psychic Association Yin. A tall and elegant man stood in front of the window with his hands behind his back, overlooking the scenery outside. Behind him, the 9-star awakened Chu Qinghai stood obediently by the side, watching his words and expressions carefully. "You said you have something to find me, just tell me." The young man looked out the window and said lightly, "Yes." Chu Qinghai swallowed, and wiped the cold sweat from his forehead. All because of. In front of him, this young man named Ji Chujian is the #1 seed in the current Dragon Kingdom sequence. Although the two are both 9-star awakeners. But Chu Qinghai is very clear that their natures are very different. The sequence is first, the meaning behind it is the highest and strongest. These two simple words represent a heavy weight behind them. The young generation of Longguo is the first person. In other words, among the nearly 500 million young people in the entire Dragon Kingdom, Ji Chujian ranks first. If Ji Chujian wanted to make a move, Chu Qinghai didn't even have room to resist. My lord, I heard that your record of staying in the 9 heavens of the illusory realm was broken by a kid named Lu Jie, and the clearance time was increased to less than 20 minutes. Chu Qinghai carefully chose his words and told Ji Chujian what happened before. Okay. Ji Chujian finally turned around, showing a little surprise. His face is extremely handsome, eyebrows are like swords, nose is straight and lips are thin. Especially a pair of bright eyes, which seem to contain infinite starlight. I didn't expect that someone could break the record set a few years ago. Ji Chujian said something to himself, quite surprised. Chu Qinghai saw the right moment, and diligently passed on the information on Lu Jie that he had collected. After Ji Chujian took over the file, he flipped through a few pages casually. Immediately, he didn't care much about it. He believes that talent determines the upper limit. No matter how strong this Lu Jie is, it is only an F-level ability. No matter how great the potential is, it is impossible to become a heavenly powerhouse. And I am about to step into the ranks of heaven. At that time, you can officially compete for the seat of the Holy Spirit Academy. It's just a kid with F-level talent, don't worry about it. In the future, don't report on such a small role, it's a waste of my time. Ji Chujian suddenly stared at Chu Qinghai with his eyes like swords, and said, "Remember, my time is precious." Chu Qinghai's heart skipped a beat when he was stared at by 600. Goosebumps all over the body, as if facing a big enemy. Next second, Ji Chujian returned to his usual aloofness and indifference, and that fierce aura disappeared. Chu Qinghai relaxed and breathed a sigh of relief. In fact, Ji Chujian's thoughts. He also very much agrees. But the reason why he came here to mention it specifically was because he hadn't forgotten his hatred. At the same time, Chu Qinghai hated Lu Jie very much. Why can this kid be selected into the sequence, but I, as a 9-star awakener with S-level abilities, can't enter the sequence? So he came to report with the mentality of giving it a try. As expected, Ji Chujian didn't care much. Chu Qinghai silently left here. His eyes flickered, silently calculating something in his heart. Since the attempt here fails, then go abroad. Anyway, this kid offended the entire Sakura kingdom last month. Chu Qinghai decided to reveal some of Lu Ji's details to Sakura country. At that time, deal with Lu Jie with the help of the awakened people from the Sakura kingdom. I hide behind the scenes and enjoy the benefits. Simply perfect. Hee. After Chu Qinghai made up his mind, he left with a sneer on the corner of his mouth. The other side, Lu Jie stayed in his room. Collect all the practice resources and so on into the storage ring. He was ready to officially set off, heading to the 4th district. 2 days passed in a flash. In the early morning of this day, Lu Jie silently packed up his clothes and walked out of the room. In the past corridor, Wu Di stayed here very early. After seeing Lu Jie come out, he was full of reluctance and said solemnly, "Brother Lu, don't worry. After you leave, I will also participate in the assessment and enter the 4th district across districts." Lu Jie stretched out his hand, patted the man who had been strong all his life, and encouraged him with a smile. "Okay, I'm waiting for you, come on." When Wu Di sent him to the door, there had long been an intellectual and mature woman leaning gracefully on the door rail. The warm sunshine in the morning shines on her hair and side face, and even the tiny fluff can be seen clearly. Lu Jie stopped in his tracks. "Chen Baishui, why are you here?" Chen Baishui turned around, smiling like a flower. "Me, of course I'm waiting for you, let's go to the 4th district together." Wu Di was surprised. "Vice President, what are you doing in the 4th district?" Chen Baishui blinked mysteriously. "Of course I want to be the vice president there." Lu Jie was speechless. "You are really a professional vice president." Wu Di was shocked. He had never seen Chen Baishui's operation before. Amazed at the moment. At this time, Chen Baishui took out 2 badges. One is the Evening Sunset Medal, which is different from ordinary awakened ones, and she wears it on her left shoulder. Another medal, with 9 golden stars on it. "Actually, I am a 9-star awakener." Chen Baishui opened his mouth lightly, explaining his background. "However, my talent is not high, it's just a general S-level ability talent. So 9 stars is already my limit, there is no hope for the heavenly level, and I will not be able to enter the Hall of the Holy Spirit Academy in this life. However, because Street Cha-Cha's Hall belongs to the Holy Spirit Academy, so my status is not ordinary." Chen Baishui glanced at his Twilight Sunset medal, and said in a lonely tone, "Relying on the power and status of Saint Cha-Cha, I have the power to overwhelm all positions in the General Psychic Association." After listening to Chen Baishui's explanation, only then did Lu Jie know her true origin. He suddenly realized, nodded and said, "I see." Wu Di was even more confused when he heard it. He felt that his weak heart was shocked. "What? Our vice president is a 9-star boss backquote. Then what the hell is the Holy Chapel? Will I be able to enter the Holy Spirit Academy in the future?" Lu Jie, Chen Baishui, and Chen Baishui have already left. Wu Di was still stunned and shocked. When he came back to his senses, both of them were gone and they were about to disappear. Take the exclusive line helicopter. It took about 10 hours to reach the edge of the 4th district. It was already past 10 o'clock in the evening when Lu Jie and the others arrived at the 4th District Psychic Association. At that time, the night was as thick as ink, and the sky was as starry as the sea. A light rain 2 days ago washed away the dust in the air. It made the whole sky clearer. Under this peaceful and quiet night sky, everything seemed so peaceful. "Younger brother." Lu Qingyi waved her arms excitedly, and shouted crisply towards Lu Jie. Lu Jie immediately saw 2 pretty girls standing at the door. One of them was full of joy, and the other girl looked over with her little hands behind her back and a smile on her face. Lu Jie and Chen Baishui hurried over. Lu Qingyi gave him a big hug when she came up. Once in the bosom is a familiar aroma. Lu Ji's neck was held tightly by his sister, he breathed the smell of her hair, and his heart suddenly calmed down. Perhaps, only in front of his closest relatives can he relax for a moment like this. Sudden, Lu Jie noticed the badge on Sister Lu Qingyi's shoulder, with 7 stars on it. Sister, are you an awakened one? Lu Qingyi let go of her arms and nodded with a smile. Then her eyes sparkled, and she took a good look at her younger brother just now. It's been more than a month since I saw each other, but it feels like 3 autumns have passed. Okay. Lu Qingyi also noticed Lu Jiyi's badge at this time, 6 stars. She looked shocked, a little surprised, raised her head to look at Lu Jiyi's face and asked. Are you 6 stars? Lu Jie nodded. Yes. Wow, what can you tell my sister to say? You really deserve to be my younger brother. Lu Qingyi was a little surprised. When she parted with Lu Jie last month, Lu Jie was only a 4-star awakened person. This is only a month's time. The younger brother even crossed 2 great realms and became a 6-star awakener. It was so fast that even she couldn't help but feel emotional. Brother, you are such a monster. At this time, Chen Baishui, who came with Lu Jie, looked towards the gate of the association in the 4th district. A few middle-aged people with extraordinary temperament walked out of it. The 2 Yu who are the leader each have a strand of white hair and a face with Chinese characters. They walk like a dragon and a tiger, and they are full of aura. Behind him, followed several middle-aged men with the same outstanding temperament. At a glance, this group of people knew that they were the senior members of the Psionic Association in the 4th district. You are Lu Jie. The leader, Yang Ruyi, the president of the 4th District Psychic Association, immediately approached Lu Jie. Very good, a hero is born as a teenager, and seeing him tonight is really extraordinary. I have heard about your previous deeds. Today, on behalf of all the awakened members of the 4th District Psychic Association, I welcome you to join our big family. Clap clap clap. There was a burst of applause at the scene. Those high-level people all looked at Lu Jie with a smile, as if they were looking at their love in the next life. After all, the fact that Lu Jie broke the record in the secret realm in the 3rd district of the Cherry Blossom Country, Gao Tianyuan, was a real achievement. So arrogant, so ruthless, joined them in the 4th district. Of course, the higher-ups liked Lu Jie more and more. Gradually, the 4th District Psychic Association gathered more and more awakened people. Many people wondered why the president and senior management all came out to welcome a brat. After learning that this brat was Lu Jie, he suddenly realized again and exclaimed. Is he the ruthless Lu Jie? I'm lost. How young is this? Just an adult. He dared to set foot on the land of cherry blossoms alone at the age of 18, and wiped out his 3rd district. What are we doing at the age of 18? I heard that he broke the record of breaking the secret realm a few days ago, and it only took 20 minutes. Hiss. Is it true or not? How could it be so exaggerated? It's absolutely true. I have a friend who was at the scene that day, and he told me himself when he came back. Throwing. So fierce. Isn't it true that Chong Wei and Bao Longxing in our district are not as good as him? I feel like it is. A group of people looked at Lu Jie with brighter and brighter eyes. The voice of discussion is also getting louder. After all, Lu Jiyi's prestige is now as loud as thunder. Zhao Dahao's deeds, no one will be amazed after listening to it, and the audience applauds. What they call Chong Wei, Bao Longxing and the like. It is the long-known genius of the 4th district. Their talents are naturally proud, and other ordinary awakened people are naturally ashamed. But if it is compared with Lu Jie, it is far inferior. But one thing is certain. The higher the area, the fewer people there are. Those who can come here are not ordinary people. Lu Jie learned about Xin from Chen Baishui on the way here. There are 100 sequence seeds, half of them are occupied here. Especially those after sequence 50, because some of them are in the 4th area. Here is the real crouching tiger, hidden dragon. The strange fog that appeared in the 3rd area and the 2nd area required at least 100 people to clear it away. But in the 4th area, most of the 2 teams or 3 teams are enough. The weird creatures here are stronger, but the awakened are also stronger. None of the awakened people who have been able to practice step by step to this point are mediocre. Lu Jie looked at the majestic building in front of him, and he began to look forward to it. The welcome ceremony for Lu Jie was as simple as a family dinner with my sister and her best friends here. The pretty girl in yellow skirt next to Lu Qingyi is named Lu Ziqi. She looks very quiet, her eyes are always smiling, and her smile forms a curved crescent. It's just that her eyes kept focusing on Lu Jie, as if she was very interested in him. Dinner is very rich. Boiled prawns, 3 delicacies from the lotus pond, black bone chicken with American ginseng, braised mutton in braised pot. Awakened people may lack resources, but there is no shortage of money. Lu Qingyi started to prepare when she knew her younger brother was coming in the morning. It took me a long day to make such a great dinner. Lu Jie reluctantly sat at the dining table. He didn't understand why Chen Baishui, a bad woman, insisted on crowding beside him. This is my family dinner. What are you doing here? Chen Baishui gave him an angry look. Stinky boy, for your cross-district affairs, I'm busy, and you want to kick me away when the matter is done. Ah, Lu Jie has a black line on his forehead. My vice president, these are 2 different things. If you help me, of course I will find a chance to treat you to dinner. But this is a special dish made by my sister to welcome me. Is it suitable for you to come here? Chen Baishui gracefully peeled a shrimp and put it in his mouth, casually said. Isn't it appropriate? I think it's quite appropriate. As the person in charge of Sequence 100, I have the responsibility to keep abreast of all your movements at any time. Lu Jie was speechless, and the woman started messing around again. Lu Qingyi hugged Lu Ziqi beside her, and said with a smile. Oh, just come. Anyway, I've cooked so many dishes that our siblings can't finish them all. Chi-Chi is here too, isn't she? Lu Ziqi, a girl in a yellow dress, was held in her arms and smiled sweetly. Lu Jie had no choice but to finish the meal accompanied by 3 women. After dinner, the siblings came to the rooftop to have a breeze. Lu Qingyi suddenly said, Brother, after you come to the 4th district, you have to prepare to start the task of cleaning up the weirdness. I want you to come to my squad. Lu Jie looked back into her sister's eyes and shook her head. Thanks, but I want to form a team by myself. I want to solo the mist. Lu Qingyi also heard about the fact that Lu Jie single-handedly contracted a strange fog in the 3rd district. Of course she knew that her younger brother's strength was extraordinary, and he had the ability to solve a strange fog alone. But out of love, she still raised her mouth. As an older sister, Lu Qingyi still prefers to let her younger brother join her team. But right now Lu Jie has her own plans, and her older sister will not stop her. Just smiled softly and squeezed Lu Jiyi's palm. Okay, since you have your own ideas, go ahead and do it. Lu Jie turned his head, looked at his sister with gentle eyes, and nodded heavily. However, in the dark, in the corridor on the rooftop, a man also came up at some time. He is Chen Zongya, and like the Lu Jie siblings, he is also a sequence seed. Ranked 83. The strength looks like in the middle of the 7 stars. Hee, it's really a newborn calf not afraid of tigers by brushing the weird mist alone. Chen Zongya, who was also planning to come up to blow the air, sneered. It's hard to become a sequence seed. Do you think you didn't die early enough? Sequence seeds, a total of 100. But only the top 36 can finally enter the Academy of the Holy Spirit. People with lower rankings will naturally use all means to improve their sequence rankings. The first method is naturally to kill strange creatures. The medals they allotted were the exclusive spirit weapons made by the heavenly powerhouses. The sequence points accumulated by killing strange creatures can be recorded. Chen Baishui said before that Lu Jiyi's sequence point was 0 at the beginning. Of course not now. The second way, and the quickest way, is to defeat one of the sequences. Successfully defeat the top-ranked sequence seed, and his sequence points can be replaced by you. Lu Jie is speechless. Why does he always have a mental illness and likes to mock others? Do you just like a lot of words to poke and prod a wave of hatred? For this kind of person, he has always had a bad face. Immediately snorted coldly and said lightly, What's your business? Chen Zongya didn't expect that this new kid would dare to talk back. He didn't respect him as a senior at all, so he smiled disdainfully. The 4th district is not the 3rd district. Most of this place is invisible and weird. Do you know what is invisible and weird? Without absolutely powerful strength or specific means, it is impossible to deal with it. A fledgling brat like you is also worthy of talking about brushing the fog alone. Lu Qingyi's pretty face was as cold as frost. She took a step forward and wanted to make a move. Lu Jie stopped her. Of course you have to solve your own affairs. He looked at Chen Zongya calmly, and said lightly. Whether I can deal with it or not, I don't need you to worry about it. Actually, I've killed 7th level weirdos before, and I've killed more low-talking 7th level awakeners like you. Chen Zongya's face turned livid when he heard the words, and he clenched his fists tightly. Stinky boy, you are courting death. A golden Tongtian chrysanthemum suddenly appeared in his palm. Every petal exudes a cold edge. The corner of Lu Ji's mouth chuckled, still want to do it. He randomly sent out a blast of hellfire. The flame rushed over in an instant with an unstoppable momentum. The flames are raging and the temperature is pressing. Chen Zongya was startled when he saw it, and quickly moved away. His figure was forced to retreat a few meters away. Boom! A big hole was blown in the corridor, and building rubble fell. You don't want to live anymore, kid. Chen Zongya looked at the traces that had been blown away by the flames and broke out in cold sweat. Immediately furious. At this time, stop it all. A stern shout from his Dantian stopped the impending fight. Chairman Lu Hongbo walked up angrily. He was full of energy, and with a wave of his hand, he repelled Chen Zongya, who was about to explode. Lu Ji's eyes froze. A 9-star awakener. It is different from the first 3 districts. Starting from the 4th area of the Psychic Association, the president's cultivation level must be 1 star ahead of this area. After all, the higher the realm of the awakened, the more terrifying the experience. If you can't suppress them in terms of cultivation, it will be difficult for the president to control the situation. President, the deterrent power of a 9-star awakened person is beyond doubt. Chen Zongya immediately silenced the drums and calmed down. Lu Jie also stopped the agitation of the source power in his body, and the eager hellfire calmed down a lot. You don't need to talk about it, I've heard some of it. Chairman Lu Hongbo's majestic gaze swept over Chen Zongya, who snorted coldly and looked away. Then Lu Hongbo finally looked at Lu Jie and said, "You are new to the ramp, and you are not yet suitable for performing tasks alone. It's better to follow your sister's team to perform 2 missions first. Lu Qingyi, as an older sister, you have to take responsibility, and try to avoid conflicts that shouldn't exist." Finished. Lu Hongbo glared at Chen Zongya, and then took him away. On the roof, Lu Qingyi looked at Lu Jie with concern, and said with concern in her eyes. Actually, what the president said is not unreasonable. Although my sister believes in your strength, there is no rush in everything and you have to take your time. And the 4th district is indeed different from the 3rd district, it is very dangerous. The biggest change in it is not just the increase in the level of strange creatures, but that they all have a lot of tricky and weird abilities. It's really dangerous for one person to perform the task. Lu Qingyi thought for a while, took Lu Ji's hand and went back to her room. Then handed him a weird illustrated book that was exclusive to the 4th district. This is the weird illustration book of the 4th district, and the content is richer and more detailed. Lu Jie is also much calmer now. Many of his own strengths are hidden means. Others do not know. Blindly asking to act alone, people who don't know themselves must not understand. Except for that Chen Zongya. Chairman Lu Hongbo is also in the perspective of responsibility, so he asked himself to join his sister's team to perform 2 missions. It is indisputable. Lu Jie felt that after he showed enough strength, he would naturally be able to shut up all doubters. Before that, waiting for a few days will not kill anyone. Now that I know my sister, I will advance to your team and carry out the mist mission together. I heard my brother is so sensible. Lu Qingyi was very pleased. She then explained to Lu Jie. Aside from doubling the danger, the 4th district is different in that there are quite a few sequence seeds here. So someone came up with a sequence ranking. You stretch out the 100th sequence, there must be many people who want to challenge you, so as to be among the sequence. You must be careful. Lu Jie nodded. Keep everything my sister said silently in my heart. The next day, Lu Jie followed Lu Qingyi's team and was just about to go out to the new strange fog. A strong man with 7 stars suddenly stopped in front of him. Opened a mouthful of big yellow teeth and grinned. Are you that Lu Jie? I heard that you are still the sequence seed of the Holy Spirit Academy, ranked 100. Ha 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 ha, I can tell you, others are afraid of you, but I am not. Today, your serial identity is mine. Finished. The big yellow-toothed man rushed forward with a grinning grin. Lu Ji's eyes were flat, but the fierce hellfire suddenly attached to his lower body. Then kicked out. Puff. The intimate contact between the palm and the chest, and the sound of the flame burning the flesh filled my ears. Only 1 foot. Liu Jie made the challenger kneel down. His eyes were flat, without even looking at the felled strong man, he left gracefully. Oops, my stomach. The big yellow-toothed man curled up on the ground and howled in pain. The eyes of the people around are staring straight. Nima kicked a 7-star awakened person with 1 kick. Could this be a genius who came up from across the region? No, you're wrong. You should ask, is this the record of the 100th place in the sequence seed? Tisk tisk, what a miserable man, his belly is scorched. I don't know if I can use it to heat a hot pot. Hey, you're so disgusting, you can't eat this kind of greasy man. The onlookers were astonished to see it, they were amazed at Liu Jie's strength, and they were also at the misery of the pitiful strong man on the ground. No way, if he doesn't have eyes and kicks on the iron plate, won't he suffer? At this time, Liu Jie had already gathered with his sister at the helicopter plaza. For this missed mission, the association sent a total of 2 teams. Liu Jie and sister Liu Qingyi are a couple. Another team gathered on the other side, discussing something. After discussing for a long time, they sent a person to walk up to Liu Qingyi and said solemnly, "Captain Liu, our team has discussed this mission, and it's better to go separately. How about we enter through the east gate and you enter through the south gate?" Of course, Liu Qingyi is fine. The separation of the 2 teams can not only maximize efficiency, but also avoid conflicts caused by competition for resources. Of course, no problem. A course of action was discussed. The 2 teams boarded the helicopters respectively and headed for the strange fog. This time the fog descended on the Shangdang City and Mafu Township areas. Liu Qingyi's team entered the city from the Mafu Township area of the South Gate. Legend has it that this was the fiefdom of Zhao Shi, Ma Fujun during the Warring States period. The son of Zhao Shi was the horse Fuzzy Zhao Huo who killed Zhao Guo's 400,000 troops on paper. Certainly, after thousands of years of honing, there are no traces of the past here. Instead, there are modern high-rise buildings. It's just hidden in the dense fog, so it's hard to see clearly. Roar, 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 sudden. On the way Liu Jie and the others were advancing, a 7-level strange head fell from the sky. Its hind limbs are strong and slender, and its thighs are full of red muscles. Other parts resemble a green praying mantis. The head is as big as Yiliang Toyota overbearing. Be careful, this beast is invisible and weird. A 7-star teammate in the team warned in a low voice. The others also trembled in their hearts and cheered up. Unexpectedly, as soon as he entered the mist, he ran into a difficult invisible mast. Whoosh! Sudden, a howling piercing sound sounded. A silver-white light seemed to flash across the night sky. Next second, just now, he was roaring and protesting hideously, his eyes were crooked, and his body was twitching while lying on the ground. Everyone rubbed their eyes in disbelief, and hurried forward to check. It was found that the 7th order invisible weirdness was dead. On the neck, a blood hole the size of a bowl was gurgling blood. Above the corpse, a mysterious and exquisite silver chain floated quietly in the sky. Liu Jie walked slowly. A hand, the soul chain flew back to his side. It was only then that Liu Qingyi and the others realized that it was Liu Jie who shot this invisible monster for a second. "Brother Liu, you did it just now," the deputy captain of Liu Qingyi's team asked. Liu Jie nodded calmly, as if he had only done a trivial thing. This, the deputy captain and the other team members looked at each other with surprise in their eyes. "I heard that the captain's younger brother is a super genius, a record-breaking evildoer exists. Unexpectedly, when I saw it today, its strength was still higher than what I and others imagined. Great, Captain, with your brother here, our mission will be much easier." A teammate cheers. Liu Qingyi glared at him, and the teammate hurriedly shut up and lowered his head. Subsequently, the team moves on, and as they gradually went deeper into the fog, Sister Liu Qingyi and other teammates discovered that if the number of weirdnesses appeared was relatively small, they would not have a role to play. Liu Jie hid it right away. This perverted performance. It directly shocked the people in the team. They muttered secretly, "I thought the captain was strong enough, but I didn't expect his younger brother to be even more perverted. What a pair of sisters and brothers who defy the heavens." Finally, the team is in big trouble. On the fountain square ahead, The squatting three-headed figure is twisted and hideous. The aura is so obscure and huge that it can even affect the weird fog around it. Lu Qingyi stopped, and the team became vigilant. The vice captain frowned, looked at the three heads heading towards him and said softly. 3. 8th order weirdness. Among the 5 of them, they are all 7th-level awakened people. In the same class, weird creatures have always been stronger than human awakened ones. This battle is a bit tricky. Boom! There was a sound of flame rising and bursting. But Lu Jie was covered in fire and stood in front of the crowd. He looked ahead and said, "My ability Tiank is invisible and weird, you can give me one of them." Lu Qingyi looked at him slightly worried upon hearing this. But as the captain, she didn't say much worrying words. "Okay, brother, be careful." Then Lu Qingyi turned her head, looked at the other 3 teammates and said, "Leave the middle end to me, you 3, deal with the rest." "Yes, captain." Assigned tasks. 5 people launched an attack together. 3 of them immediately cast their abilities to attract the weird one on the far right. Bang! Suddenly an astonishing thunder flashed across the sky. The sound shocked the world, almost numbed the eardrums. Lu Qingyi's body was entwined with dense lightning arcs. She slowly lifted into the sky. Her eyes were in the shape of blue and white plasma, majestic and domineering. I saw his green finger pointing towards the ground. Boom! A bolt of Nirvana divine sky thunder roared and fell to the ground instantly. Smashed a huge hole in the ground. And the weird one that she was staring at had her thigh injured by the violent thunder. Roar! Strangely wounded and bleeding, the woman in the sky, who was shrouded in thunder, let out a threatening roar from her eyes. Lu Qingyi's face was expressionless. At this moment, she was transformed into the goddess of thunder, wherever her fingers touched. 100-meter-long pillars of thunder continuously fell from the sky. Boom! Boom! The thunder was raging, and the day was so earth-shattering. The other 3 teammates were even more inspired when they saw their captain so vigorous. The movements of the hands are also more vigorous. However, when they saw the battlefield where Lu Jie was on the other side, they almost lost their eyes in shock. Jaws dropped to the floor. Only see the other side. Lu Jie turned into a ghost rider, and his whole body turned into bones. Soul chains were flying in the sky, and the monstrous Hellfire shot straight into the sky. Even the sky was forced back 3 points by this flame. That 8th-level weirdo jumps up and down in the sea of flames cast by Lu Jie, and the doctor has nowhere to land. The whoosh of the soul chain brought a sonic boom. Instantly pierced through this 8th-order strange body. Then he drew out a light blue soul. Lu Jie stretched out his arm and condensed it into a big hand with Hellfire. The hands of flames strangled the neck of the 8th-order strange soul body. One hard snapped. The sky was suddenly filled with light blue starlight. The whole process takes less than 3 minutes. The 8th level of weirdness, die. Incarnate as a thunderbolt, Lu Qingyi, who was floating in the sky, instructed the thunderbolt to strike strangely, while turning her eyes to her younger brother. Just now, she was completely dumbfounded. How many minutes have passed? Did the younger brother kill Weird? We haven't seen each other for only a month, but my brother is so strong. As the saying goes, only with contrast can there be harm. As the captain of Lu Qingyi's team, she is synonymous with absolute arrogance. All the way from the low-level area across the area, even brushing an 8th-level weirdness alone is no problem. This point has always made several other members of the team deeply admire. Therefore, even if Lu Qingyi was born as a daughter, they did not dare to show any disrespect in their hearts. But now, several people looked at Lu Jie, who was like a god and demon descending into the world, and in just a few minutes, he forcefully killed Wei Wei, who was 2 levels higher than him, with wonderful expressions. The deputy captain clicked his tongue and opened his mouth wide enough to stuff an egg. I saw it today, and I realized that Tianzhao really can't be guessed by common sense. The other 2 team members also deeply agreed, nodded and said, "No wonder the captain's younger brother has always wanted to fight the mist alone, so it turns out that he really has this ability." Lu Qingyi's pretty face hidden in the thunder suddenly smiled. She was indeed shocked by her brother's performance. In just 1 month, Lu Jiyi's strength has changed drastically. As an older sister, Lu Qingyi is very relieved. Immediately, she shifted her gaze to the strange person who was chopped down by herself without human appearance, and said softly, My brother is so outstanding, my sister and I can't fall behind. Boom. Above the thick fog, the sky once again sent out 453, roaring thunder. An extremely thick thunderbolt slammed down violently, striking heavily at the other end, who was already covered in black and white smoke was emanating from his head. Where the thunder pillar fell, the ground was split into a pothole of nearly 10 meters. And the 8th level weirdness was covered in smoke, completely buried under the majestic might of the sky. The second 8th level is weird, die. At this time, Lu Jie and his sister looked at each other, and they both nodded slightly, understanding each other's thoughts tacitly. Next moment, Lu Jie condensed a flaming spear, and Lu Qingyi drew out a sword wrapped around thunder. The two of them killed the last 8th order weirdness together. Roar. Shu Shi's companion's death caused enormous psychological pressure on the last 8th level weirdo. It starts to feel scared. Especially when Lu Qingyi's two siblings came with fire and thunder, the instinct to seek advantages and avoid disadvantages engraved in it made it overcome all impulses. The weird and ferocious eyeballs turned and looked in a certain direction, as if they were slipping away. Stop them. With a finger of Lu Qingyi's sword, a touch of spirit surged away. All right, Captain, leave it on us. The 3 team members who had fought fiercely with this weirdness for a long time responded loudly, and immediately excitedly used their housekeeping skills. The brilliant supernatural light was emitted together, blocking the last 8th order weird escape route. Zzz. The thunder cut by Lu Qingyi's sword struck his back, making a sound like 1,000 birds singing. And at this last moment, Lu Jie silently held up the spear transformed from Hellfire, took aim and threw it vigorously. Whoosh! The air blasted a sonic boom. The flame spear passed by in an instant. Pooh! In the end, the 8th order strange head was directly pierced by the spear, and his heart was chilled. It is pierced from the skull to the tail. The terrifying Hellfire melted all the internal organs in its body, and evaporated into a cloud of black and red blood mist. Died. The deputy captain's eyelids twitched. Captain Xindao's younger brother's method was too violent. Directly shot a powerful 8th order strange to death, and the muscles, internal organs, blood, etc. were all evaporated by the flames. This way of dying. Hiss. It's scary to think about it. Captain, this is the spirit crystal that exploded. Another team member trotted and handed the exploding loot to Lu Qingyi. Lu Qingyi handed it back to Lu Jie. A total of 3 8th order spirit crystals. Lu Jie thought about it and only ordered one. The last one is weird, and I wouldn't be able to kill it without their help. So this spoil is everyone's, I'll just take the spirit crystal that erupted from the weird one I killed. When the deputy captains heard the words, they immediately showed expressions of gratitude. The younger brother of our captain is not only incredibly strong, but also a very nice person. Anyone with a discerning eye knows it. With Lu Ji's strength, even without the help of the 3 of them to keep them, he can easily chase down the last strange one. But he did not choose to take the spoils all by himself. Such a frank heart immediately convinced the vice captain and the other 2 team members. Lu Qingyi smiled and said, "That's fine, anyway, the days ahead are long, and when you can swipe a piece of mist in the future, 1 or 2 spirit crystals are nothing." Lu Jie nodded. "That's right, that's it." After accidentally encountering 3 powerful 8th order invisible monsters, Lu Qingyi's team never encountered any more strange things. It is worth mentioning that, the higher the area level, the more inaccurate the implying compass. Especially starting from the 4th district, a large part of those that appear have the ability to become intangible. Once weird casts invisibility, compass immediately catches blind. Therefore, the awakened people in the high-level areas have gradually abandoned the method of relying on the compass road. Lu Jie silently followed the team. He felt that this efficiency was too slow. Shangdang City and Mafu Township are famous historical cities that have been passed down for thousands of years, and the population living in them is huge. Without a second of delay, it is possible to sacrifice more innocent people. And the resources that can be harvested by oneself are also greatly reduced. Being used to acting alone, he planned to clear up the fog quickly. So Lu Jie turned to Lu Qingyi and said, "Sister, you continue to advance according to the source plan, and I will help you find the way." Lu Qingyi was puzzled, exploring the way. What kind of way? Next second, in the void came the sound of roaring engines. Then a flaming motorcycle fell from the sky. With an extremely elegant and handsome posture, he domineeringly stopped beside Lu Jie. Lu Jie didn't explain much, stepped on the evil spirit motorcycle with one step, and twisted his right hand. Buzz! The evil spirit motorcycle rushed out in an instant, leaving only a brilliant line of fire in place. In the distance, there is a distant echo of Lu Jie. Of course it's riding a motorcycle to explore the road. The vice captain and the other two teammates were dumbfounded again. Shock and envy remained in their eyes, and quickly Dee asked. Captain, Brother Lu, is this motorcycle a spiritual weapon? It's still a strange weapon, is it too handsome? Lu Qingyi shook her head. To be honest, she knew that her younger brother could summon a flaming motorcycle. But whether this vehicle is a spirit weapon or a strange weapon, she is not quite sure. The other side, Lu Jie drove a ghost motorcycle, flying over the roof and over the walls, speeding like lightning. He galloped through this fog at a super high speed that broke through the speed of sound. All the strange creatures encountered along the way, no matter the 7th or 8th order, all died violently under his violent hellfire. At that time, the other team is struggling with the 8th order weirdness at both ends. Their team does not have Lu Qingyi, who came from across regions to awaken the arrogance of heaven. Although they are all in the 7-star realm, it is still relatively difficult to parry. Suddenly, however, a meteor flame passed through. One of the 8th order weirdos, who was slightly injured by their joint efforts, was directly smashed into water. Flashes flying. Then, under the long trail of flames, the curly hair was quickly scorched black, and finally turned into black smoke and dissipated. The team was astonished. Everyone's eyes were wide open, watching the flame motorcycle come back again. And the man driving the flame motorcycle still has a huge flame blade wrapped around his hand. One knife. Then cut off the second 8th level weirdness. They swallowed hard, and while they were insanely shocked, they wanted to see who was so fierce. Could it be a super fierce man within the top 50 of the sequence? However, what surprised them was, the man on the flame motorcycle just bent down and picked up the 2 8th order spirit crystals that exploded from the ground. Didn't even say hello to them. Back on the bike again. Lu Jie killed all directions in the fog. Riding a ghost motorcycle will quickly kill all the weird ones. More than an hour passed. Lu Qingyi felt a little anxious. The younger brother said that he went to explore the road, why hasn't he come back for so long? The other team members also looked worried. I just thought to myself, our captain's younger brother is so powerful. It should be, nothing will happen, right? But no one has the bottom line. Because this place is a weird fog after all. Any unexpected dangers and accidents are possible. However, just when Lu Qingyi and the others were collectively worried about Lu Jiyi's safety, suddenly, the fog cleared, thick as a tornado, thick and invisible to people's strange fog. All of a sudden it faded away. Lu Qingyidang stopped in her tracks. Her cherry mouth opened slightly, and the pupils in her beautiful eyes trembled slightly. A bold guess suddenly rose in my heart. The other team members also looked at each other in blank dismay, their hearts trembling. The same bold idea rose in their minds. The fog clears, there's only one explanation. That is, all the weirdness in this fog has been cleared away. And as far as they know, the strength of the other team on this mission is not even as strong as theirs, and it is absolutely impossible to complete this feat. Other than that, only the last is left as a possibility. Could it be that the person who wiped out all the other weird people with his own strength is the captain's younger brother? Lu Qingyi was also secretly startled. Lu Jie, is that you? Do not know why. When Lu Jie hurried back to join his sister, including Lu Qingyi, they looked at themselves a little strangely. Especially when the deputy captain asked with a trembling voice if he had solved the fog. The horrified look in his eyes made Lu Jie feel even more puzzled. To this, he just waved his hands and said casually, "Isn't it just a single brush of fog? Ji Sao, Wu Lu, sit down." The fog was resolved in advance by Lu Jie. The group quickly returned to the 4th District Psychic Association. On the way back, Lu Jie accidentally discovered that his Holy Spirit Institute sequence seed metal had changed. He just wanted to find out more about what was going on with this thing. Chen Baishui hurried over. With a rare seriousness on her cold and charming face, she said to Lu Jie, "You guys go to a place with me. Lu Qingyi asked curiously. Where is it? In such a hurry. Chen Baishui took a deep breath. I can't reveal too much, it's a place that doesn't belong to any region. The only thing I can tell you is that this is a serial meeting. Lu Jie and his sister hurried on in silence. Chen Baishui was mysterious and didn't speak much. Along the way, we crossed hills, mountains, rivers, ponds and basins. Lu Jie even suspected that he had already left the country and arrived at another border. The helicopter stopped. Below stands a tall and magnificent palace. The hall as a whole is holy and pure white, all of which are made of expensive granite and marble. As soon as you enter the gate, there are already bustling crowds standing inside. Lu Jie looked up and looked around. It was found that these people were quite young. And all of them have extraordinary manners, with arrogance hidden between their brows. Count again, about 100 people. Then, their identities will be revealed. 100 sequence seeds. Chen Baishui whispered to Lu Jie. This is a meeting held by President Wei Qingshan himself. The topic is not clear yet, but according to the intelligence analysis I have obtained, it is very likely that there will be a great fortune. You must take good care of it. Lu Jie nodded slightly, understood. When he looked up, he noticed a group of people standing on the second floor of the temple watching them coldly. They all wear the same sunset twilight medal as Chen Baishui. Holy Chapel. Besides, throughout the lobby on the first floor, 100 sequence seeds seem to be standing here and there. But only 3 of them, like the stars holding the moon, received everyone's attention. These 3 people, it is the first 3 in the sequence. They are all extremely gifted geniuses, standing together, not talking about it, but secretly comparing each other. The top 3 in the sequence represent the strongest and most talented pyramid tips among the 100 people, and naturally attract everyone's attention. It's just that Lu Jie didn't arrive. After I came in, I also received a lot of frequent glances. Lu Qingyi was worried that her younger brother would be in a bad mood, so she gently took his hand. Lu Jie calmly said, "Don't worry, I'm fine." He didn't care about the strange eyes of others. It's just because I am a person who entered the sequence for an F-level talent, which made many people feel angry and unhappy. Yo, isn't this our F-rank genius? I heard that your older sister is a genius girl with SS-level abilities. How can there be a useless brother like you? Hee, I don't know how thick-skinned I am, but I'm not ashamed to stand with us. The third in the sequence among the stars and the moon suddenly looked at Lu Jie, his eyes and tone were full of disdainful sarcasm. Sequence 1 and Sequence 2 standing next to Sequence 3 didn't speak, but stood coldly, watching the play. The third person in the dignified sequence went off to mock Lu Jie in person, and in an instant, the gazes of countless arrogances came over. There was joy in their eyes, and many of them were waiting to see a good show with malicious intentions. Lu Jie sneered in his heart. It's true that wherever you go, there are people who like to say hello and talk cheap. He stared coldly at the third line in the sequence. What about F-level abilities? What about SS-level abilities? I have killed countless weird and awakened people along the way. As for the so-called geniuses, I will kill them if they make me angry. A strong retaliation, with awe-inspiring killing intent. All the sequence geniuses were secretly shocked. I didn't expect the sequence 100 of this F-level ability to be so kind, to speak so unreservedly, and full of holy will. Many Tianzhao whispered, it's a ruthless character. The third complexion in the sequence was instantly gloomy enough to drip water. He stared at Lu Jie with gloomy eyes, just about to explode. There was a sudden sound of footsteps on the second floor. The sound has a certain rhythm. Just by hearing the sound, you will feel that the visitor is extraordinary. Everyone then looked up. On the second floor, the strong men of the St. Cha Hall who were originally in charge of observing gave way one after another. They avoided their bodies and kept the most central position. An old man with white beard and hair, who is not angry and majestic, slowly appeared in everyone's field of vision. The current dean of the Holy Spirit Academy, Wei Qingshan. He stood quietly, his eyes were flat, but he seemed to have an amazing aura. It makes people feel oppressed just by looking at each other. As if, he is the protagonist of this world, the absolute ruler here. Welcome all the sequence seeds to gather in the Holy Church. Wei Qingshan glanced at every sequence Tianzhao below, and smiled slightly. Each sequence seed immediately put away their arrogance and listened respectfully to the dean's speech. You are called here this time because 100 sequence seeds are officially full. The second is to invite you to enter the Great Dream Cave. This is a very rare secret space. Some of you may or may not have heard of it. Since the day it appeared, it has become a world of its own. It is opened every 10 years. It contains very special and precious resources. Your task is to enter it, and use your own abilities to seize the opportunities that belong to you. When Wei Qingshan spoke up to this point, he paused. Then went on, leaving in 7 days. Dean. At this time, among the bustling crowd on the first floor, Sequence 3 suddenly made a sound. Everyone looked at him in amazement. Sequence 3 took a step forward proudly, facing Wei Qingshan, pointed at Lu Jie and asked. My lord, since the Great Dream Cave is so precious, then we should send the most elite and most talented people into it. Why is there such an F-rank trash among us? Out of 100 sequence seeds, 99 of them are at least S-rank geniuses. I don't agree with this kind of rubbish being mixed in. I request that Lu Jie be kicked out of the sequence. Expelled from this team. As soon as this statement came out, there was silence. Apparently, no one expected that the arrogance of the third and Tang sequence could reach such a harsh level. Even if Lu Jie's record in the past is so brilliant, the third in sequence still looks down on his rubbish talent. The crowd became noisy. They were discussing in 2s and 3s with each other in low voices. Everyone is guessing what will happen next. Is it the dean who came forward to refute the face of the third sequence? Or did the dean take the initiative to disqualify sequence 100 Lu Jie? The atmosphere at the scene fell into silence, and everyone was holding their breath, waiting for the next change. Sudden, a woman with a graceful and plump figure and a cold expression like a rose with thorns stood up. Chen Baishui raised his eyes, staring at Wei Qingshan who was standing indifferently above him, and said loudly. Master Dean, I request to redetermine the talent for sequence 100. I think that there must have been some kind of unknown error when sequence 100 awakened, which caused its talent to be displayed incorrectly. Sequence 100, the ability is definitely not an ordinary F grade. Chen Baishui's voice was firm and confident. She believes in Lu Jie's talent and has absolute confidence in Lu Jie. Wei Qingshan's expression remained unchanged, and no one could guess his inner thoughts. He just looked at Lu Jie and asked, what do you think? Lu Jie looked calm. He doesn't care what his talent label is. It doesn't matter whether someone underestimates himself because of his talent level. But, I'm also a little curious, whether I am the dual talent that Sikong Hao said. So Lu Jie replied loudly. Yes, I agree to re-evaluate talent. Wei Qingshan's indifferent expression finally revealed a profound smile. He took a deep look at Lu Jie, smiled lightly and said, okay, let's start preparing. On the scene, the senior officials of St. Cha Hall soon came forward and called out the Black Awakening Stone in reserve. It is exactly the same as the one used by Lu Jie when he first awakened talent. At the same time, in the remote and mysterious Holy Spirit Academy, a group of Zeons sat together and watched the situation remotely through video. Obviously, under the premise that almost everyone has never known it, Lu Jie is the real focus of the most powerful people in the Holy Spirit Academy. Now, talent testing is about to begin. In the eyes of this group of pillars of the country, the strong men who are like the pinnacle of the sea, there is a rare look of anticipation. Awakening talent requires a certain open space. The same goes for retesting. The senior management of the St. Cha Church came down from the second floor, with a straight face, and drove the chaotic crowd to a special place. Soon the hall on the first floor was cleared out of an area. Many strong men from St. Chad's Hall brought in steps, testers, monitors and many other devices. They were silent as they assembled everything. Lu Jie stood at the very center, quietly waiting for the senior management of the Holy Cha Hall to arrange the test ceremony. And all the sequence seeds around formed a circle, watching Lu Jie inside whispering. It's been a long time to retest the talent. This can be regarded as the only move in the world. Who made his record too strong and too inconsistent with his talent level? You say, what level of ability can be detected by this sequence of 100? It's probably impossible to rank F, but I don't think it may be a very high level. After all, this Lu Jie is a bit exaggerated. That's right, I think so too. Objectively judged, S rank is about the same. S level, it's okay. I don't know who took the lead. Opening your mouth and moving your mouth is an SS level talent. How do they understand the gold content of the word SS level? I think that Lu Ji's F level talent was tested at the beginning, but now he is at most S, and may not even reach S. Some people watched the drama with cold eyes and expressed their disdain nakedly. The voices are noisy, each sticking to their own words. Uniform yes. Not many people valued Lu Ji's true talent. They firmly believe that even if there was a mistake in the awakening ceremony at the beginning, the deviation cannot be too big. S rank is the peak that Lu Ji can reach. Among the more than 100 people, there are only 2 women who always have confidence in Lu Ji. Lu Qingyi and Chen Baishui stood together with concerned eyes. She has great confidence in her brother. It's not just because of the deep love between siblings, she has seen Lu Ji's talent with her own eyes. The younger brother's flame, no matter in terms of range or temperature. They are by no means comparable to ordinary supernatural fires. Lu Qingyi came all the way from the 1st district across districts, and has seen many fire attribute abilities over the years. Even S-rank sequence talents have heard of it. But without exception, their supernatural flames seem to be crushed by Lu Ji in every aspect. There is also Chen Baishui who has the same idea. This woman trusted Lu Ji from the beginning. From the beginning to the end. It was so at first glance, and it is so now. Never wavered. Along the way, the various feats that Lu Ji achieved in front of them are vivid. His supernatural talent is absolutely impossible to be F level. At the railing on the 2nd floor, Wei Qingshan looked down lightly, with no emotion in his deep eyes. Finally, the high-level officials of St. Cha have adjusted the awakening ceremony. The test begins. Lu Ji stood on the high platform as instructed. Lightly touch a black awakening profound stone with both hands. The mysterious stone is connected with a special instrument, which can directly display the talent index. Bao Yuan Shou Yi. Communicate with the supernatural powers in your body. The senior officials of St. Cha said in a deep voice. Everyone got excited and showed expectant eyes. Lu Ji closed his eyes, mobilizing the sleeping Hellfire in his body with all his heart. The Hellfire surged out and clung to his palm in an instant. Under the burning of the Hellfire, the black awakening profound stone quickly glowed brightly. This light shines in the audience in an instant. The instrument connected to the awakening black stone immediately displayed the talent index of Lu Ji's ability. Everyone stared at the screen. The talent index has been soaring all the way. The surrounding audience was in an uproar and exclaimed, "How? I remember that when my S-level ability was awakened, it took more than 10 minutes. How did he rush to the S-level position in an instant? It's the same for me." At the awakening ceremony, the talent index slowly and steadily climbed to the SS rank, but it is definitely not as fast as Lu Ji. It's amazing. Could it be that Lu Ji, who tested the weakest F-level talent back then, is going to perform a miracle today? Hiss. I think we may have really underestimated Lu's talent. Breakthrough S rank in an instant, and judging by this person's expression, he seems to be very relaxed. Everyone's expressions are wonderful. The scene in front of them was beyond their expectations. Reached S rank in an instant. And the speed is so fast, the process is not sloppy at all, and the breakthrough speed is very smooth. This means that Lu Ji's talent is by no means limited to the level of S. As predicted, next second, the talent index has exploded all the way, and the numbers continue to break through. Under the watchful eyes of everyone, it reached the terrifying SS rank. All the sequence Tianzhao's hearts were shocked, and they all showed unbelievable expressions. Blanche, SS rank. It's so fast. Before they had time to react, the talent index continued to sprint, and it reached the SSS level in the blink of an eye. Everyone was shocked. Scalp tingling. Keep your eyes open. There was a sound of sucking air in the field, and various, hissing, sounds one after another. The pupils in everyone's eyes kept trembling. Obviously they didn't expect such a terrible result. SSS level. This is a rare SSS level talent in the whole country. In the entire Dragon Kingdom, there are only a handful of people who have such terrifying abilities. Could it be that today, they will witness the birth of a new member with their own eyes? The 99 sequence talents, all the high-level officials and commissioners of the Holy Chad Church, looked at Lu Jie at this moment, and their eyes still completely changed. The previous contempt became dignified. Previous arrogance turned to shame. Lu Jie is an arrogance with SSS talent, and he is far inferior to him, so what qualifications do he have to be arrogant? However, things are far from over. Standing beside Lu Jie, the high-ranking member of the St. Chalk Church had cold sweat on his forehead. He was the closest, so he could best perceive what happened on the scene. I never expected that the boy named Lu Jie, who was ranked last, had such a strong ability level tested. With his cultivation base that is almost infinitely close to the sky level, he is somewhat shocked by the power of Lu Jie's Hellfire. The talent index is soaring all the way. On the instrument connected to the Black Awakening Profound Stone, the final displayed level is Super SSS Talent. Unknown Flame System. Boom. There was a lot of uproar in the audience. It was as if a thunder had exploded in everyone's mind, and they were completely stupefied. Their brains roared, and their eyes looked at the screen, such a horrifying, Super SSS level talent dazzling. The horror in my heart can't be added. Soon everyone was whispering to each other, and their words were full of shock and disbelief. Super SSS talent. What kind of outrageous situation is this? Even the Awakening Stone can't reveal the specific name of the talent. It also means, what Lu Jie awakened was a talent that had never appeared before in this world. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.